And we are live. See, I had to say the live part. That's the only part I needed to do. Welcome
Fraud
to the
copier.
Iron Lords podcast. And the Lords of Gaming.net. Now, Cognito is very specific that Lords of Gaming.net needed to be in the intro. So I got that taken go. This is episode 133. As you can see, we are missing the host of the podcast, LordCognito. He had to go deliver some packages around the world and reconnect the United States of America. He'll probably jump in later on in the topics if he has time. I don't really know, but safe travels to LordCognito. So without LordCognito here today, I'll be your host, Lord Addict, and I have addictified IRLP today.
Oh,
Addictified.
nice.
Addictified. No, it's addictified. Okay, I'm the host. I
He's
get
like,
to create the
I
word.
say it how I want to say
Yeah, right. He said, "I'm gonna make up words. I'm a Don King this."
it.
So we have an amazing show for you guys landed today. We'll start the show with some Stranding, because actually some people actually played that game now. I keep forgetting the game just came out. We've been talking a lot about a game that hasn't came out, but that's besides the point.
Addict. You don't play Death Stranding. You live Death Stranding, baby.
Then we have some Game Pass news, or not really news, but stuff that King had to get off his chest. So we're gonna let him get that down the road. And then after that, we're going to talk about some leadership changes at Sony. And then we're going to end it with XO 2019 predictions. So we're here. We're joined by a friend of the realm, a supporter of the Lords, a person without question I would share the title of Difficult Game Conqueror with, and has some of the most useful and straight to the point on how-to videos, introducing the person responsible for the Yikes movement, Lady Erica.
Hey, that intro. I was worried you weren't gonna come with it.
What's funny is
like
I
it.
went and I watched the old one, and I had to put the yikes, and I was like, Cognito already addressed the yikes, but I don't care. It needs to be in there. So I got that in there. Now, if you want to go see the all the premium gems and stuff that LordCognito did, that was originally took place on episode 96, so you can definitely go do that. Now, I'm not the biggest fan. I'm gonna give the mic to Lord King David so he can do his combat talk.
Wow, this is the worst introductions to people ever. Hi, everyone. By the way, I didn't really get to say that. Good morning. Hi. How are you, Erica? That's Happy great. to be here. Happy to be here. Oh, okay. Thanks. How's your day? Wow, Addict. Um, as you It's can all good. see, we are a ship without a rudder. Lord Cognito, shout out to the rudder that's out there delivering packages, Death Stranding style. Um, last night, I hope you guys got a chance to see. Because I'm a subscriber to DAZN. DAZN is a sports app that is trying to challenge ESPN. I know it's kind of hard, and Showtime and HBO, but they're putting out compelling content, and they're giving you 50 fights per month. If it's on Bellator, if it's boxing, you got boxing on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Bellator on Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays, I believe. And last night we had Logan Paul versus KSI, or KSI versus Logan Paul, depending on who you follow. And leading up to the fight, I was interested. I was watching their little 40 days into the fight, and it got to a point where I said, you know what? I'm gonna give these guys a shot. The first fight was pretty entertaining to me. So this fight, it was the debut of them. This time they didn't have headgear on. This time, this fight was considered their first pro fight. All right, they packed out they packed in the Staples Center. They sold the whole place out. I think that's like 12,000 people. It was YouTubers from around the world. Shout out to every YouTuber, every content creator. The whole card was filled with YouTubers. The arena was filled with YouTubers. It was a movement that I was very proud at seeing. With saying that any YouTuber out there that want to fight me, let's do it. Um, we'll talk to Eddie Hearn to get this done. But I saw two guys lay it on the line. Now, if you want to go by um who actually won the fight, I would say Logan Paul won the fight. If you're going by the rules of the fight, he got penalized 2 points. I thought the ref was overzealous when he penalized them. I don't think the ref knew it was only a 6-round fight, because if it's a 6-round fight, you just reprimand the guy and put him back in there. Or if it's so egregious that you just give him 1 point. The reason why he deducted a point was he punched KSI with an uppercut, and as KSI was going down, he grabbed his head, hit him again with another uppercut, and as he was on his knees, he punched him in the back of his head while he was on the floor. These are not professional fighters. They're learning. These are amateur mistakes that they were making. And I mean, a strong, stern warning would have been my preferred cup of tea, but he didn't give him that. He took 2 points away from the man in a 6-round fight. Understand, at that point in time, dude is done. All right. So either he has to knock out KSI, and KSI was leaving his heart and soul out there. So KSI gets the win. And I think it sets up a third fight. But the interviewer,
I kind of thought they fought before. I couldn't remember.
Yeah,
if they did
the first fight, with headgear on. It was like a celebrity exhibition match. This was really for real, and their bodies reflected the level of seriousness that they took going in, because Logan Paul looked ripped and right. KSI looked lean and he was athletic, and they were moving. It's just a moment for you guys to understand that everything is possible. These are YouTubers. These are guys that were uh, doing some form of content, and they used that platform to do whatever their dream was, and it guided them to someplace else. So, I hope y'all got a chance to watch it. If you don't get a chance to go on YouTube, go check it out and see how, it gave you a different demographic. It was a younger crowd. Everybody was into it. It was totally different from like an MMA crowd or a boxing crowd. Justin Bieber was there.
Was it YouTube exclusive or?
No, it was just, to see it, it was elating, because it showed you there's a whole different lane for this. It was just a bunch of young people having the time of their life. All these guys, it was so many different YouTubers there. I had to have somebody point out and tell me exactly who's who and what was, because usually a lot of times, like, you see the panel guys, not one has their face, right? So a lot of times you don't know who's who until somebody actually tells you, oh, that's such and such, and that's such and such. And it was like a who's who of YouTube was there. And it was fantastic. It was just a really entertaining thing. If y'all got a chance to see it, I talked about it on Twitter. You really had a really good time. It was there. It was really fun. Even the boxing matches, because I had actual fighters, that was a little bit boring compared to the YouTubers that were fighting.
Interesting.
Yeah, actually, I was told that last time that, I've noticed, because there's a lot of amateur stuff here. Amateur people really go at it because they don't really know how to fight. Like, they'll keep swinging until they either can't lift their arms up anymore. They can't lift their arms up anymore, or someone gets knocked out.
Yes.
Actually, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I saw a comparison picture from, I think it was Logan Paul. Yeah, it was him, and he definitely beefed up for this fight.
You saw his body, right?
Yeah, they took it serious.
Very serious. I'm just like, it is so fantastic to see it and understand the humble beginnings to where they were. They were talking trash on the internet. They gave it up to each other at the end. They shook hands as a man. It was like, it's a different level of respect when you do the dance of death in the ring with a person, especially if you do it twice and you do it for real. There's a different level of respect that you have for somebody after you really have to do some long, hard rounds with that person. It was very nice to see. I think it brought a community a little bit closer and an audience to get a chance to see what combat sports is about. So,
and plus, you capitalize on that the general the amount of people that's on YouTube in general. So you introduce a lot of people to boxing in general.
Yeah. And MMA too, because they can go into MMA after this. I would have loved to see them in MMA. I swear to God, I would have loved to see them throwing kicks and stuff.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah. So just to be clear, yes, I cut Lady Eric a little bit much. So what have you been playing, Eric?
It's all good. Well, I mean, we're going to be talking about it. I've been playing that DeathStranding, so I got some thoughts on that once we get to it. What else? The Neo 2 beta.
I need. Oh, that's only on PlayStation, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about to end
never
too.
mind.
It was for 10 days, so I think it's coming up on like the last day. Yeah.
And I actually have intros for the Lords. But see,
okay, go for it.
Lord King, he brought up combat sports before the podcast. I wanted to make sure he got that. So, of course, we have the other Lords here. We have the Lord that helps me shut down all positivity on the Switch. The person we call when we need something thrown in the bushes. The one and only Lord King. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. I got introduced again. Yay. As he said, throw it in the bushes. Throw it in the bushes in stores today.
This man got a t-shirt.
Yes, throw it in the bushes is in that Teespring store. As long as especially Phil Dominus Maximus Spencer is in there, go get those. We have some other stuff that's cooking up for you guys. Like I said, last night I was watching a fight. What I've been playing, ukulele. I got a chance, well, Destiny. I finally got that gun. I did that little mini raid lair type of dungeon thing. It was pretty fun. I like the content that they're pushing now. Destiny seems like it's on a roll.
I think it's in a good place right now.
Yes, it feels in pocket. It feels nice. I'm actually considering using real money to buy stuff from the ornament store, because it feels like I'm rewarding the team for what they're doing, because the level of content. We had Iron Banner going on with momentum with that raid, little mini raid layer thing to get an exotic gun, well, along with another raid quest. At no point in time with their life with Activision were we able to get all three things at one time. And still, Festival of the Lost is going on right now.
Yeah,
it's
actually,
amazing.
After the podcast, I'll probably jump back on that.
Me too.
Yeah, and obviously, what you've been playing, King?
Oh, that right there. And it was one game. Oh, sorry guys, I want to get Luigi Mansion right now. Financially and collective wise, I'm not into collecting games and letting them catch dust. I'm mad that I got Zelda and I didn't get a chance to give it its just due. Gamepass is really going crazy right now. So what I'm trying to do is trying to get through games, and then I'm be on to the next game. So I'm not gonna get another game and just let it sit there and collect dust. Black Friday come around and I could probably pick up Luigi Mansions then, but I really want that game because it looks great.
Yeah, me too.
I played a little bit of Luigi's Mansion. It's a fun game. I dropped Zelda. I dropped it quick. I'm not even lie about that. And then obviously, we do have another Lord here. We have the Lord that helps me. I could just read the same thing, Addict. We have the one and true ally of LordCognito, the Knight of the Switch Gang movement, and the king of playing games and ignoring Lord Addict's party invites. How you doing, Lord Soft? He in the bushes. All right.
Lord,
he's in the bushes.
Is in the bushes right now. But it's okay.
Oh, he's more than in the bushes. He out of the podcast.
He totally dropped out.
All right,
now me and Attic is running wild.
Oh, there ain't no one to monitor us, Lord King.
Am I in trouble? Am I in trouble?
No, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Yeah, I don't ignore you, Addict. I just, I just mute you. That's it's a difference. I see you,
All right, so
what's going on?
Nothing much. What you been playing? Have you been playing that Death Stranding?
Yeah, I didn't get to watch boxing. I didn't get to do anything because you know what I was doing? I was walking.
And
walking.
All right, no, let's say that's gonna be the first time. It's gonna be the first topic.
and walking.
Yes.
and pooping and then walking.
And delivering. You can't forget that part.
Oh yeah.
All right. So before we get to the top, let's get last week's poll. I was originally going to drop this, but I felt like it was tradition that we needed to do it. So last week's poll went through, and the people have spoken. I think that's how LordCognito says it, isn't it? I'm pretty sure. With the mostly positive views of Death Stranding before release, do you think it's possible for a game to be not fun / boring, yet still get high rated because of its narrative? And with the majority of 53%, they agreed it's the Kojima effect that, there is a little bit of that bias going towards his name. With the 53%, I am not LordCognito. I was not going through the other ones. That is the winner. We'll continue. So, Death Stranding's finally out. We've been talking about this game for a long time. People actually have their hands on this game now. And Lord Erica and Lord Sovereign has it. So I'm going to go ahead and let Sovereign talk about, what's going on with Death Stranding, Lord Sovereign.
Let me let out a big sigh first.
A big sigh to start. That's not good.
It be like that sometimes.
What can I tell you, man? After all the commentary last week, all the speculation about what it is and what it isn't, and hearing other people's takes on it that have played it, obviously, you know us. We have to play it. We have to play it to really figure out if this is what it is. And I have to say that the vast majority of takes that I got from it last week, it kind of still holds true. This is very much, let me say the positives, right? The game is gorgeous. The game is absolutely, it takes that Decima engine to another level. Like, you want to see Norman Reedus on your TV?
He's there.
Forget about Walking Dead. Just turn this on. Just Norman Reedus. I mean,
well, it's Norman Reedus with some muscles, right? Because I heard that he begged, beef up my muscles, please, sir.
They gave him the six.
Well, have you seen how much stuff he's got to carry? He better got like a 30-pack, man. He's carrying a lot of stuff.
That man carry a building on his back, literally. Like,
I've seen the stuff he's carrying be taller than him.
Yeah,
absolutely. It gets to ridiculous heights. It's kind of funny. But yeah, like, honestly, man, everything we heard about it. So the story is basically that there's been this cataclysmic world-killing event that has decimated the entire world. But at the same time, what it's done is created this sort of rift between the living and the dead. And so the Death Stranding literally is that the dead or spirits or ghosts are sort of caught in between their world and ours. So they're literally stranded in our plane of existence. And your job is to try to reconnect the world by delivering packages and getting likes for delivering packages. It is the premise. I think they could have done so much more with it action-wise. I know I heard that there's some more action stuff later on in the game. What I've played thus far is just super boring. It really is taking packages, getting them from one place to another, avoiding BTs in the process. And trying to balance your way there, because the big mechanic of the game as you're traversing is keeping your balance, not falling over, not damaging the packages as much as possible as you go from point A to B. So what happens is that Kojima tries to gamify like very menial small things that you don't need to gamify, like in terms of climbing and stuff like that. And what happens is it makes the mechanics boring. And they're pretty much broken, because basically you can lose your balance depending on how much stuff you have on your back, right? So
you got to press a button commands to constantly be adjusting for it.
But this is the thing, you can do that, right? And constantly adjust left and right with the L2 and the R2, right? And have this funny little balancing act where you're just swaying back and forth. Or you can just cheat and hold them down the entire time, and you're constantly going to be balanced.
What, are you serious?
That's what I do.
That's what I do.
Wow. Thank
you. I do that, yeah.
You can literally break the game and just hold it down, and you won't lose your balance.
So he didn't design around people just holding the buttons in?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that he put that in there for people that wanted to be lazy.
Isn't there an easy mode, though?
I think there is an easy mode. From what I read, it doesn't necessarily change the way like encounters go with BTs and stuff like that. I think it has to do with like the terrain traversal, like, because when you're traversing the terrain, you have this sensor that you can kind of press a button. It'll show you the terrain, and it's graded in terms of how difficult it is to traverse, like from green to yellow to red being very difficult, steep terrain, stuff like that, yellow being medium, stuff like that. And the same applies to like bodies of water and things like that. So I think it maybe has something to do with that, but apart from that, I heard everything else is kind of intact, so it's not really an easy mode.
So what is terms of difficulty is it?
It's not hard. It's just tedious and kind of boring, at least to this point.
Everybody says the same thing.
It's
boring.
Yeah, it's tedious and kind of boring. And again, you guys get on me for loving Red Dead, but the Red Dead world is vibrant. It's alive. Like, there's stuff to do in that world. Like, you run around and kill people and cause havoc. This is not that. This is literally a barren wasteland where you're just going from A to B. you'll run into some enemies every now and again. You'll do the BT thing so when you're going through a BT area, like BTs basically look, from what I've seen so far, they basically look kind of like Frieza from Dragon Ball Z. They have these like long tails and whatever. The way you get through a BT infested area is that you use the baby to sort of and your sensor sort of gives you an idea of where they are, and you basically try to traverse through them crouched as slowly as possible. And often if they see you, they're going to try to grab you and pull you down to their like this nether region, and you can try to fight them off, or if you get pulled down there, there's a thing that you do that you come back up or whatever. Sam never really dies.
Oh,
and that's pretty much it. I know later on there are some things where you can fight them, and I believe even kill them. So I don't know if I'm going to get to that point. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you.
Might drop it.
I might. I don't know. I'm nuts like that. I may just try to see it through, but it's right now it's tough going. One thing that surprisingly that I won't say that I enjoyed, the story is weird, but it isn't confusing weird. Like I kind of got everything they're trying to say. It's stupid and corny and weird, but it isn't this crazy multi-layered thing, at least not yet, that's not understandable and nuts. And I have to say, like, the acting, the actors are all in. Like, they really are. No, the only person that feels like he's sort of phoning it in is maybe Norman Reedus, and that's Norman Reedus and everything.
I have been told almost the little bit of positivity I have heard has been, the way the game looks. Apparently, it's a very gorgeous game, and the way that the acting is, apparently it's top notch.
It definitely is. I give it that. But everything else around it, everything else that makes it a game, and I know we've said this a million times, fun is subjective, but there is such a lack of, for me, the person that enjoys minutia, if I'm telling you there's a lack of fun in this game, there's a lot of red flags. This feels like it is totally 100% a vanity project for him, but at the same time, it's like looking at the whole product, I'm saying, like, what are you trying to say with this? If this is a project for you, this game is for you, what are you really trying to say? Because it's just batshit. It really, that's
oh my gosh.
it doesn't make any sense. The one overarching story thing that doesn't feel cheesy and doesn't feel kind of thrown in your face, and maybe he intended this, maybe he didn't, is the way that the multiplayer is sort of incorporated. It's not, you don't ever directly interact with anybody else in the world. What happens is that they can leave things in the world, or you can leave things for other players in the world to make their traversal easier. So it's like, it has this overarching thing about, social media and how we treat each other on social media. Like a game, like for instance, like there's no trolling here, right? There's no crumb side in DeathStranding. It's just helping other people out. And I think that message is cool overall. But the rest of it, honestly, like, he could have told a much cleaner, straighter story and gotten more gravitas from it, especially with these actors, than this weird thing he's trying to do.
Wow. So, Lady Erica, I know that you've played a little bit of this. I haven't played none of this. I'm not going to even sit here and try to front with you guys. What is your experience with the DeathStranding? I'm going to call it the DeathStranding.
The DeathStranding. Mine's going to be a bit different. Surprisingly, I honestly thought, like, when you asked me to be on here, I was like, yeah, I'm probably going to come on here and talk about how I don't like this game. But I'm not going to do that. When I first saw this game, the trailers.
Erica trying to be different. That's all that's happening.
No. Trust me. I really went in with, like, low expectations. Let me put that out there. I really thought, based on the trailers, I was not going to like this game, especially when it came to, like, the micromanaging, the balancing, all of that. I just figured that's going to be cumbersome. It's going to be annoying. But I always thought, well, maybe I think the story looks interesting. I'll probably dig it for that if I do play it. So I decided I'm going to check it out. I'm going to Redbox it, keep it safe, just in case I don't like it. And all the things you described the game really well, by the way, like, as far as, like, what you do in the game, what you see is what really you get. You're delivering packages, you're walking around a lot. The focus is on balance It's on, walking properly, not falling, not damaging the packages.
Can we just please highlight what she's explaining this game is? Like, can we just
What?
highlight that? It's about balancing your packages, not
It
falling. Like, come on, man.
It sounds crazy, right? But just follow me. So that's what you do as far as your mechanics.
Is it one of those? It's so crazy, it just might work.
Maybe. But that's like your mechanics. It's the core mechanics. And I agree that it's like these little things that were in games before, all the stuff I just explained. But Kojima, he puts it at the forefront. This is like the main core of the game. And so the story, as I expected, is interesting. It's easy to understand, at least so far, like you said, on the surface. Because I don't know if later on we're going to be peeling layers and it's going to get all, weird or anything. But so far, I've been able to understand it on the surface. But like I'm saying, I have a different opinion because I don't find it boring like I thought I was going to, which is really surprising to me. I've been playing it, I've been streaming it, and maybe that has to do with it. I got to throw that in there as a factor, chatting with the stream, having people crack jokes, the FedEx jokes, the Amazon jokes. We're having a good time, right? So as I'm playing the game, I'm actually having fun with it.
There you go, Solve. All you got to do is stream the game.
Maybe that's the trick. I do
hey, there are
recommend
games
that.
That's made to stream. But let me go ahead and get these super chats real quick.
Go for it.
So I want you to get this dizzy one, Lord King.
Well, that would happen if I'm not wearing these shades and it's not early in the morning.
It's perfectly fine. I'll get it. So we got $5.
No. I got it. Lords of Sunday, another day to remind you that King Osov needs. Another day to remind you that Kojima is an egotistical maniac. Hashtag throw him in the bushes. Thank you, Dizzy. I think you're on to something with throw him in the bushes in the Teespring stores now. Anyway, yes, Dizzy, I understand. You know what? I was just talking about Dizzy yesterday, and I said how he's such an inspiration to me, and he should be an inspiration to a lot of people. And I will always go back to his picture where he's sitting in his hospital bed. He's sick. This is our editor-in-chief going through it right now. I would love for you guys to go to his GoFundMe page and contribute to him. But he has a controller in his hand, and me and him talk. And I said, we talked
playing Destiny in the hospital bed.
That's what I thought. But he said he wasn't playing Destiny. He was playing something else because the Wi-Fi was terrible there. But I said, man, you look like you was in a raid or something. I saw your passion, and it just broke my heart because this man is 100% gaming, and he's here every Sunday, and he's full of support. And all I can do is just be in admiration of this man. This man is an incredible dude, and I think about him every day, to be honest with you. Never met him in person, but I think about him every day.
Hey, so I just noticed, Lord Soft put the GoFundMe. If you can contribute anything to, the Lords would definitely appreciate it. So we got another a $2 super chat from B.R.A.P. He says that it's a Death Stranding cult classic. So now we've went there already. All right, got you, B.R.A.P. We got a $5 super chat from the Ashton and Luca. Always good to hear Erica's voice. What's up, Lords? Hope you are having a good day, not harassing people for enjoying Death Stranding. You know what's sad? I listened to Lady Luca so much. I actually read that in her voice, but we're gonna go beyond that. But so
that's the best. That's the best right there. I heard it too.
Continue, Erica. I apologize for that.
Shout out to Luca. What's going on? Yeah, where was I? So yeah, like I was saying, I really thought I was gonna come on here and slander this game, like say it's boring and I don't like it. But it's just such a trip, this game. It's the weirdest thing. I'm doing these, quote unquote tedious things. I'm walking, I'm delivering, I'm taking care of this baby. It's crying, I'm shaking it. I actually shook the controller.
How often does the baby cry?
You shook the baby?
How often does the baby cry?
Well, this was like the one major time because I'm like 4 to 5 hours in, and this was the main time where it's like, oh, you need to calm this baby down because the the thing that it's in, it was red, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh shoot, I got to do something. So I take it out. I have it in his hands, and I had to actually move the controller to calm it down. So I was like, wow, I'm really doing this. I'm really playing this game. I'm doing exactly what I knew was going to happen in this game. And I thought I was going to hate it. But because I'm streaming, like I said, I'm laughing about it. I'm joking around. I was kind of enjoying it. It's the weirdest thing. And I can't really articulate or express why it's enjoyable, but there's something about it. There's something about it that just like keeps me going. And the story, like it is good. So that, plays a huge part actually, because it gives motivation to the character. I feel like he has a reason for what he's doing. And that I think gives it more purpose and it gives me more reason to keep playing. So I'm tripping out on myself. Trust me, this is something I did not expect to be saying. I really did not think I was going to feel this way, but I actually do. And I'm pleasantly surprised. And I gotta say, let me just say it now. I Redboxed it. I Redboxed it, right? I Redboxed it, and that thing had to go back at 9:00 last night. I'm looking at my husband. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Should I take it back?
You don't pay that extra $3 and play it again.
He takes it back for me, right? He comes back with a purchased DeathStranding and hands it to me. He's like, here.
That's great.
Now that's a husband. That's a
so
husband.
I now own DeathStranding, everybody.
What's funny
is
she was low-key thinking, I didn't want to buy it. Like,
no, really but she didn't want to give it back, and he knew it, and he saw it in her eyes.
DeathStranding, from what I see on it, it looks interesting what I see, but, as of right now, I'll eventually get to it. The biggest thing I'm really looking forward to on the PlayStation brand is Final Fantasy VII Remake, obviously. So I'll probably get to. I don't know. It'll be on PC by then too. But we got a $10 super chat from B.R.A.P. again. The game is actually more than a walking simulator. It has pleasantly surprised me. I am hooked. It bucked the usual troops and nice changes of pace from what I played this generation.
I will say, and that's I expected nothing less from Kojima. Like, I know full well that at some point in the middle of that game, or even before then, you're gonna hit something that's like, wow, I didn't expect this to be here.
Well, I feel like that's all his games, though.
That's all his games, right? So
if you play any of his games, you're gonna know sooner or later you're gonna have that wow factor. It could be a good wow or a bad wow, but you're gonna have that wow factor.
But you're gonna get a change of pace there that you're not gonna see in a lot of other games. Like, he's super courageous in that regard. Like, he doesn't care. Like, he will do that. But yeah, to the point that some people are saying, like, I guess people are getting sort of shamed for playing the game. I'm not gonna shame anybody for playing that game. They got my $60 straight up. So Kojima has my money. But I just think what bothers me about this is that he really does make games for himself. And when we talk about and the fact that he's obviously going to get into movies and whatnot, I really do feel like that is a medium that is suited to him. In that, I would love to see a Death Stranding movie, right? Without take away all of these mechanics and stuff like that. Just tell this story, right? And then have to condense it into a 2.5-hour thing. I think would be good for him, right? I don't know that it necessarily be successful, but I think that's something I think if he practiced at, Kojima movies would be fantastic, because he comes up with these off the wall ideas that are just nuts and it don't make any sense and it's just stupid sometimes. But in a game, you have 60, 70, whatever, 100 hours of exposition you have to fill, right?
Right.
In a movie, if he's forced to have to condense that, I think we can get some really, really special stuff from him. And the man is a legend. The man
I do think that his lane is production, movie production. I do think he can tell a story better than he can make a game.
I don't think he can tell a story well at all. I believe, like BG says, he's intentionally confusing his audience.
But there's a lot of people in the movie genre that are more accepting to that than the game genre.
I don't think so. I don't think an audience would like to sit there through his egotistical rants and his maniacal misleadings. I don't think so.
He goes out of his way to explain things that should be open to interpretation, right? He'll explain it in a way that it doesn't respect his audience sometimes. Like, it makes you feel like you're dumb. And that's the thing that I think if he makes movies, he's forced to have to cut out that fat, right?
Yes.
And come with a story, tell it as directly and straight as you can. And the funny thing is, when you do that, everything else around it sort of picks up the movie, right? We'll pick it up, like the character interactions and stuff like that. See, he makes interesting characters. I don't know that the interactions with those characters are very interesting. They're very sort of stilted and cardboard like, but the characters themselves are interesting. Like he doesn't have any sort of interactions that feel like a Naughty Dog game interaction between like Nathan Drake and Elena or something like that. Not even close. And if he had that, I think you would have truly special products for him all the way around.
You guys who played it, what's up with everybody crying, man? Did he get down the crying animation down to a point that he's trying to make everybody cry? What's going on with that?
There is a story thing to it, right? There is a story thing to it. It has to do with the time fall, I believe. But don't quote me on that. There is a story thing to it, but at the same time, he is showing off. I mean, Eric,
did y'all see that trailer?
Hold on, let me grab the super chat real quick before we continue. We got a $2 super chat from B.R.A.P.S. This is to you, addressed to you, Erica. It says, Erica, do the BTs freak you out? I hate them.
Do they freak me out? I don't know about freaking out, but it does kind of get the tension up because you got to like hold your breath. You got to move slowly. You got to crouch. You got to manage because your stamina goes down.
I hate those breath things, man. I got someone killed in Until Dawn because I couldn't hold my breath correctly.
Oh man,
I got a couple people killed because of that, man.
That was a QTE, right? That was a QTE.
At the very end, I kept that chick alive the whole game, and it was to keep the still. I used to put the controller down if I knew that was going to call. I cheated. I don't care. But that one time, I remember. I'll never forget. I tried to keep that. It was Sam. I tried to keep her alive the whole game. Got to the very end, and then the animation popped up. Man, I ain't never tried to sit so still in my whole life. And then all I saw was the red show up, and then she got clapped. I'm like, no.
Yeah, I sucked at that game. I think I had like 2 people survive or something like that. But no, back to Death Stranding though. It's more like a tense situation, but you don't really die, or there's not really a huge. I mean, I think your packages might get damaged. I think if you do get caught, you can like shake them off as it tries to grab you and stuff.
Don't you get graded for how conditions your packaging is?
Yeah, it's really hard to get a bad grade. I mean, granted, I'm playing on normal, so I don't know if you play on hard. It makes it like you have to have a less percentage of damage because it gives you a percentage.
I'm playing on normal as well, but I think again the cheat that we're utilizing kind of eliminates all of that.
Right. So but as far as the BTs, that's probably been some of the best moments though, because I mean, some people might look at it differently, right? You might think of it like it's exciting, but then others might think, well, duh, you've been bored for the past hour. So of course, when something happens, it's going to be exciting. So who knows what it really is and what's really going on, but it is a moment where you kind of like, you get a little nervous and you don't want them to see you. And so you slow things down even more and it gets, the tension goes up. So yeah.
It definitely does. And they're always more than you expect. Like if you throw out your scanner will kind of show you an outline of the ones that are like sort of immediately in front of you. When you traverse right through them, I thought I was in the clear. And then all of a sudden you have like 10 more that appear. I guess that, it's an area that you have to get through with them. And then the thing is, at the same time, you're also like BB is agitated, so BB kind of starts to fidget and cry, so you have to make sure that BB stays quiet. Like,
hey BB. Yo, I want to know when BB get in your throat though.
Oh no,
what's up with BB in your throat?
I was gonna be mad if there was no BB in nobody's throat, but you see that it's actually the same cutscene that they show from before. So yeah, throat baby is a thing.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. When you gonna throw BB in the throat though? Let's go, baby.
Pretty soon, actually. Yeah, you won't be too disappointed.
So before we move on from this topic, what's
Oh yeah. Hold on, pause. That's right, Bo. You're right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
So, do you think that this game is living up to Kojima's name?
Well, let me say I don't play a lot of Kojima games. I played Metal Gear Solid 5 but based on like the audience and the fanboys and the hype, because people just praise Kojima up and down, like he's the god to them, the god Jima, right?
There you go.
The god
he jumped in. He's like, did it. Thank you,
Yeah,
my
Harry.
fellow camera dude.
He
Let's
came
go.
running home.
Yes.
My levels are good. My levels are good.
Well,
Yeah.
he in his place and everything.
Yo, listen, he bust through the door. He threw on his shirt.
Yeah, I heard people was running wild in here. I heard Attic was going crazy.
It's
What's
crazy.
going on,
It's
y'all?
crazy.
Attic was good. Shout out to Hold It Down, Lady Erica. Salute.
Hello.
What's going on, Solve? King, what's going on, people?
Yes, sir.
Chilling, fresh off that Dallas flight with the great wedding. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Shout out
He done got it.
to
Oh yeah, that's right. Shout out to Lady Panda and Lord
Yes.
SWAT on
Lord
the
SWAT,
knuckle.
yeah. It was
Dilly,
real
dilly.
cool.
Cognito not want to say it, but that cup has 5 energy, man. He's trying to combat that lag that he just got.
Yeah, man. I definitely need a little downtown. Where we at? What topic we talking about?
We about to end up the Death
Throat
Stranding.
baby.
Oh, damn, I missed the Death Stranding.
No,
So-
we're at the end. You can still say something.
Oh, God. He's like, no, we good on that. We don't need to talk about that no more. No, I was just...
No, I
Your
mean we're at
levels
the
is
end. We're
crazy
at the
high.
end of
You
it. You
got-
can
Okay.
still say something.
Okay. I'll bring the levels down a little bit.
Thank you, sir. Don't come in here all boisterous like that.
Oh, no doubt. So just everybody's consensus was, as far as the people who've played, they like it. Is it like Solve and Erica? I believe you two played. So
Yeah.
what's the consensus?
For me,
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
pleasantly surprised. I really thought I was not gonna like
Mm.
the mechanics of the game, just the constant balancing of my packages and walking around and climbing and all of that. And it's surprisingly not boring to me, and it's
Okay.
interesting. The story's interesting, and I talked about that a little bit. We both talked about it, but it's easy to understand, and so far. And it's just one of those things where it's like I feel like I shouldn't like it, but I do. And I can't really figure out why. It's just sort of like this thing. It's like I want to keep at it. I want to see what's going to happen, kind of thing. I wanted to also say that, because we were talking about movies and how Kojima should get into movies. I really do think this would make a great Netflix series. And I kind of feel like that's what I'm doing. Like I'm playing a Netflix series, and I'm interested in that kind of way. So I wanted to mention that too.
All right,
Yeah.
positive. So positive. So actually, the story, which the thing I was more concerned
You haven't
about.
heard what Solve said.
Oh, okay. No, I know. I will get this off. I'm gonna get this off. I just was curious because basically the thing I had the most worry about was the story being convoluted. He be on his Lele Lalu stuff, and Erica's saying she's actually good with that. That the story seems good. Now, what's Solve talking about? I was just curious, real quick.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Like the story, it's weird, and there's weird characters and weirdly named characters for no reason. But it does seem fairly straightforward, which is weird to say, but it's true. It seems so far, at least, it's fairly straightforward. If you're paying attention to all the cutscenes and stuff like that, you should not be lost. But I'm not as high on it as Eric. Everything that I played so far, and like I said, for me, the king of minutia, for me not to like it, it kind of surprised me actually. I said I'm gonna like this game, I know, and these guys are gonna kill me for it. And then, at this point, it hasn't opened up enough that I'm enjoying what I'm playing, but I may just be stupid enough to barrel through and keep going. For me, I mean, and like I said, for me, like I don't begrudge anybody liking it for whatever the reason, because it does have some qualities that are pretty great. But the moment to moment stuff for me is not doing it right now.
So basically, this stuff people were saying with the core gameplay loop was a little. That's what you're harping on. You're not there with it.
It's on point. That definitely is on point, and that's objectively what it is. And it's a matter whether you're down with that or you're not down with that. There wasn't anybody embellishing what the gameplay loop is. It is that. And it's just a matter if it's for you or not. Like I said, but I did say like the story. Like I said, the acting itself I found to be very good, and like all the actors kind of really being all in on their parts. Like it doesn't seem disingenuous in any way, shape, or form. Like Norman Reedus sounds like Norman Reedus. So he may sound
Daryl. He getting his Daryl on from Walking Dead.
He's Daryl on. So exactly. So he may sound like he's phoning it in a little bit, but that's just him. But everything else, honestly, it has great parts to it. There's things about it that are fantastic. That coach, you know, when it comes to like when it comes to tech and stuff like that, like it really shows off that engine. And just other things that are, for me, are disappointing. Now,
last question. I know I'm annoying Addict with this because I gotta ask. I heard the Decima is fire. Yeah, I heard good. Decima engine it looks crazy. Okay.
Like you look at that game, you're like, oh damn, Aloy's gonna look fantastic in Horizon 2.
Seriously, I thought the same thing. Like that game's gonna look gorgeous.
Wow.
Okay. All right, Addict. I'm done boring you. I just had to ask those questions.
Go ahead, Addict. People, you know, DeathStranding's been around for 3 years, and people really, you know, it's been a mystery. So we've definitely talked about DeathStranding, not even just today, a lot in the past couple years. And I, for one, am looking forward to never talking about this game.
But I was feeling that same way at it because, you know, all these podcasts, like everybody talking about this game. I was like, man, you know what? I can't wait till this game comes and goes. And here I am playing the damn thing. It's like you never know with video games. You just never know.
Sometimes you gotta come and go. It's gonna stick around.
Other Sync being disrespectful. He said there's no enemies on the screen. So how great is the engine? Yo, they disrespectful.
That is true. There's oftentimes a barren waste. I think somebody said called it what do they call it? The New Zealand walking simulator because it feels like they just.
But when the game comes out for PC, we're gonna be talking about it again. When the game comes out for Game Pass, we're gonna be talking about it again. So Kojima's gonna be just like Throw Baby in your throat.
Shout out to Victor Elstein, $2 super chat. Kevin Costner DLC incoming. Wow.
Oh God.
Dead Addict. Oh sorry, I had to ask.
So you know, we're gonna go ahead and close the Death Stranding chapter until King's right. We're gonna talk about this when the PC version comes out. I'm confident we will.
Or when it's nominated for Game of the Year, because you know it's gonna be.
I'm gonna tell you this though. If this wins Game of the Year, Keeley,
is it media bias? Is it media bias?
Keeley's gonna have to shove his head in a hole somewhere for like the next 2 years.
It's going to get nominated for Game of the Year.
Oh, it'll get nominated.
Yeah.
So wait. I gotta ask Attic. I apologize on your topic again. But I gotta ask, this is a very polarizing thing, man. Like, shout out to B.R.A.P. in the chat, and I saw Boom going at it. Like, if this wins Game of the Year, is it a problem? Is it the Keegley influence? I mean, he's in the game. Well, I gotta ask this, y'all.
He's addressed it a couple times. I think he can influence it to get put in the nominations, but I don't think he has any control if he gets nominated. Like,
it's not gonna matter. It's not gonna matter.
What about the optics?
Isn't the reviewers 50% of the vote?
Yeah, he doesn't have input from my understanding.
These viewers gave this game 10 out of 10. Like,
yeah, and this game might win this year.
I don't think it should. Even though I did, you know, I'm surprised. I like
Shadows
it.
Dies Twice was a way better game.
I think if this game wins Game of the Year, you will hear an audible groan from the crowd.
Okay, you know what's gonna happen if this game wins Game of the Year? Go back a couple years when Overwatch won Game of the Year, because that's gonna be Lord.
I'm not understanding. Everybody gets packages delivered, and everybody wants their packages to come in safe. He's dropped this game at package time of the year, so this is Amazon right now is popping. You know, everybody want their little Christmas presents and all this stuff. So these guys are out here being amateur delivery people. And listen, I'm telling you, all these little amateur delivery people is gonna go in. They're gonna vote for this game, and it's going to win Game of the Year. You know what? I'm on to something. I think I'm gonna vote for it for Game of the Year.
Hold on, Erica mentioned one thing, and Erica knows about this. We didn't talk about the mules, Erica. The mules are essentially former porters, package deliverers. They're delivery crackheads, so to speak.
They are. I was just saying that on my stream. Like, this is really low key a drug exchange right now. Like, this
wow.
Because he's always he's delivering drugs all the time. So I'm like, whoa, did I just crack the code here? Am I in the Kojima space right now? Like,
yeah, you need to deliver drugs to these
Wait,
outposts.
hold on. He moving weight?
He's
moving
weight?
He's moving real
Come
weight.
on.
I'm not even joking. Like, that's legit going on. It's crazy.
Look, they say they need these drugs at these outposts because they're so solitary that they need things to keep them even keel because then they'll go crazy. So they need the drugs. Yes,
that's what we doing. This is what we doing now.
And the drugs have affected.
The Iron Lords podcast is not support drugs.
Yo, listen.
We traffic.
He the new Walter White, baby.
Wow.
Look, Kojima might support the drug
this
thing,
is
but
a Heisenberg.
not.
It's a Heisenberg simulator. That's what it is.
Wow.
Arizona desert.
No, this isn't even Heisenberg simulator. You know the middle guy people that was distributing Heisenberg's drugs? This is that simulator.
Yo, Jonathan B said, BB
move that that sound like a record.
Move that dope.
BB move that dope.
All right, so let's go ahead and legitimately move off this train.
And they call them mules. They call them mules.
Wow.
Kojima out here instructing people to move their weight in post-apocalyptic worlds.
So we do have something that Lord King was very vocal about speaking about this. He actually changed his topic because this came up. We want to talk about Game Pass, and obviously, Lord King is very, very pro Game Pass. So I'm gonna hand it off to him.
So shout out to Neil Gaff for coming up with somebody has deciphered the sales, the subscription numbers on Game Pass. Looking at 9.5 million. Now I know a lot of you guys are gonna be like, "But King, it has not been confirmed." It's confirmed in the realm.
Oh my God.
I'm a roll with Phil Dominus, Maximus Spencer. It is confirmed in the realm. So we're talking about. Listen, if this is the adoption rate on Game Pass, and I don't hit me with sales numbers, you amateur stockholders. Don't pocket watch the situation. I'm just talking about from the aspect of gaming, right? Is this the trend? Is this the key turn? Is this the ignition point where people and everybody is voting with the facts that the real pocket watchers, real budgeters are actually budgeting and figuring out Game Pass is at such a value and these services is at such a value that this is given back to their family. They actually have more money to go on vacations and stop, get diapers for babies and stuff. Their children's not walking around with no diapers because they wanted to get DeathStranding. Shout out to that dude that they don't have diapers on right now.
Not like this.
Formula in the house.
Not like this.
Not like this, King.
He's old enough to eat rice. He's only 2 months old. He cannot eat rice, sir. But I'm seeing the adoption rate, and if this is correct, at 9.5 million, and you say everybody's been talking about Xbox has stayed at 50 million since last year, right? Like they haven't sold any Xboxes since last year. But let's keep that same energy, right? Let's say it's 50 million, and you got close to 10 million Game Pass subscribers. That's a large core that you have linked into. And is this the new trend going forward? If these numbers is to be believed, is Microsoft right? I bring this to the round table, and I took my other topic off because I think this is a more polarizing and more interesting topic.
Who's jumping in?
What do you have to say, Lady Erica? What if Game Pass is really at 9+ million? Do you think that if they came out and they formally announced that these are their numbers, do you think that would shut some of these people up that's on Twitter?
As far as like what the haters, the pocket watchers, and all them,
the people, pocket watching,
the people that say that this subscription service isn't something that could be done long term, that games are going to be devalued in quality because they keep putting it on this. But 9 million, regardless what people want to have this narrative, everyone's not paying $1.
Right. No, yeah, I fully agree with that. I know that's for sure. Because that's just how you start off. And then once you get kind of, into the plan, then it goes up to what, 15 or something like that a month?
10 to 15, depending
10
on
to
which one you
15.
have.
Right.
Ultimate or regular.
Yeah, I did just come off my ultimate subscription for Gears. I let it expire, but I got on there. And so anybody who really, gets on there, they're not going to be like me to remember to end it. Some stay on it and then they end up really liking it too. So they stay on it for that. So, but for the haters and all of that, I don't know. I mean, I go back and forth with being a hater sometimes, because sometimes I think, well, maybe it is messing up these games, like Gears, for example, who they are on, this terrible plan as far as content and how it's rolling out. And, they're trying to do microtransactions and things like that. So I worry about that part of it, like my games that I love, like Gears of War, if it's going to ruin my, games that I like. So I do kind of dabble in that that mindset. Like maybe it could hurt these games. I do think about that sometimes, but then at the same time, I know I'm not a businesswoman. I did not go to school for business, so they're obviously they know what they're doing.
That's the part that blows my
They're doing
mind.
something
You have so
right.
many people acting like they have like a bachelor in marketing or something related. Like most of these people couldn't sell strawberries at the grocery store, and they sit here trying to act like they know how a subscription service works. And then they're constantly comparing it to Netflix, which is not even a fair comparison because Netflix doesn't sell anything. Xbox does. Netflix doesn't have a subscription service called Live, which regardless, I don't believe they should have that. But Xbox does. They have multiple places of avenue that they can make money off that brings into Game Pass being the entry.
Right.
So we got a $4.99 super chat from Wiener. It says, games in Disney World. You pay to get in and then spend more on toys. DLC Game Pass, essentially Disney setting and stories and that are free to enter.
They're selling in stores that are free to enter. That's cool. Now let Erica finish. She had a good point on the other side she was saying too.
Yeah, well, I forgot what I was saying. It's early over here, guys. I'm on the Pacific Coast. I know. At 7. I'm I'm trying to just like be lively right now. But no, I mean, like I said, I was saying I'm not a businesswoman. Microsoft, they have a ton of money, so they know what they're. I'm assuming they know what they're doing, and long term, I think they'll be fine. I just kind of worry about certain franchises because I'm seeing it before my eyes. Gears of War, it's changing before my eyes. It might be too late at this point, and it's disappointing.
Feel. I gotta ask you this, Erica. You feel like the microtransaction aspect? You feel like the Game Pass thing had a negative effect on just the rollout of the content after launch?
I'm saying it's possible. I think that's a factor. It could be a factor. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Fair enough. Who else jumping in?
What do you feel, Solve? How do you feel about this Game Pass?
I mean, I think if the thing with Microsoft and why this works is just because they do have that cushion where if it's slow to start up, if it's the adoption rate is slow, they can eat that. So that's what they have over, say, a Sony that maybe can't necessarily or wouldn't want to eat that in the beginning to have that slow build up. Microsoft had to do this and they can do it. Right. And the thing about it is there is just they pay every single one of these developers up front, right? Some lump sum of money that the developers, nobody's holding a gun to their head, right? They're paying them this lump sum that they're saying okay to, in addition to continuing to get exposure on this platform, right? And it's just, I think the exposure is what matters the most because it keeps it in the public conversation long after that initial 2-week period when a game usually makes the most of its money is over. You constantly keep it in that conversation. It may not matter in that conversation to the hardcore who've already played it in that initial period, right? But I tell you right now, the what Microsoft is looking at is how do we get the person who only buys 2 or 3 games a year, maybe, into Game Pass? Because at that point, then you have somebody there who only purchases specific games, but is going to look at this platform and say, why not, right? I have a perfect example of a coworker of mine the other day. She was looking up Dying Light, the enhanced edition for her son. She was going to buy a physical copy, right? And It's not in Game Pass. I thought it was, but I mentioned Game Pass. I was like, have you heard of Game Pass? And she's like, no, what's that? I'm like, well, it's a service that you can pay either $10 or $15 a month, and it folds everything in. And when I mentioned Ultimate, because he's not a PC gamer, but Ultimate, because of the fact that it includes live, she was super interested. Immediately went and bought a year's worth of Game Pass. In addition to buying him a physical copy of Dying Light, the Enhanced Edition. This is somebody who, under no circumstances, would have found this, known about it, any way, shape, or form. Now it's probably in for the duration, because she said, like, his regular Xbox Live just gets taken out of my account every month. I don't even pay attention to it, right? It's something that they're banking on.
Right.
So that 9.5 million, as we go into next gen, look for that to double. Double, because again, they're only going to sweeten the pot. My hope is that xCloud gets rolled into there without an extra.
Let me check my email, because somebody got an email that they were in, and I'm really upset that I'm not. I'm gonna let you know that right now.
You got to call. You got to make some calls, King.
Man, listen, I'm refraining from doing that. I'm refraining from calling up Mr. Greenberg and saying, "Yo, bro, what's really happening in these streets?" Like,
for real,
easy.
I'm really refraining from that, because that's my dude, man. You're my dude.
Oh, the Lord's compromised in the round. Jesus Christ.
Man, I'm here trying to do this.
Snitching. Not even that.
That xCloud is a point of contention, man.
Oh my Lord! Apologies to the round.
Let me tell you something
right here.
Let me tell you something. You can play your Switch, sir. Let them hit you with all your Switch stuff. Let them hit you with the Switch. Why am I, Captain Game Pass, not having this xCloud? Why is this not happening?
Man, the Lords have been bought off for 10 pounds of silver.
10 pounds. That's what I'll sell them out right now. Let's go.
Wow. Yo, shout out to Philly Eagle, the $10 super chat. I see the perspective, but it's hard to blame subscription services on changes in gears, etc. Until or unless something like that happens regularly. If it doesn't, it's unrelated. If it does, then I'd agree.
So what is the issue?
It could be isolated. It could be.
What is the issue with gears specifically?
It seems like it's more about the microtransactions. They had huge issues when the game launched, which heard it. Now, I don't think the quality of the actual game's the issue. Now, there was bugs when the game came out, but a lot of those have been fixed. I know people have issues with the stats tracking, because I know they're still having issues with that. Obviously, they had the whole thing happen where they were banning people for up to 2 years for leaving. So, that hurt them. And then it's gotten to the point with the cosmetics of how you unlock stuff in the multiplayer. People want the loot box stuff back from Gears 4. So that's how bad it is.
That should tell you everything, that people actually prefer the loot boxes. And we complained about those a lot in Gears 4. But to say, I'd rather have those, that's bad. That just tells you.
And all of this I feel is extremely fixable. Like, go towards a little bit more of the Destiny route where, as much as I hate to say this, I complained about Eververse a lot. But we could have the Gears way where you literally have to pay for everything.
It's looking nice. I mean, Eververse
if they did the Eververse route where you have a season, you could get stuff from the previous season for the silver, but for a lot of stuff that season you have to buy.
Also,
shout out to no.
I was just going to say, as a Gears fan, I'm going to throw this in there, and this is just kind of just how I feel about the franchise. They casualized it a lot. And I remember hearing from, I think it was Rod Ferguson or one of the developers saying, we want people to log into Game Pass, see our game, and check it out. And they really wanted to make this game for everyone, which I understand.
So
it makes sense,
what
but
terms do you think was
casualized?
Like, do you think it was the overall multiplayer gameplay?
It's like this feeling of like participation trophies. You get eliminations for assists now. You don't really get to know exactly.
Like the whole industry is moving that direction. Like,
that's true. That's
if you get a participate, like I like in Battlefield how if you get I think it's 80% of the kill, you get the kill too. Because nothing irritates me more than literally laying someone down in Destiny and then Sinister pops up and shotguns him. So I understand. Like something shouldn't change. And,
but in the world, everything is. We like to look at ourselves as the end all be all. We are to 10%.
Yeah,
we're trying to get that other 90%. And just like we saw the fight with KSI and Logan Paul, they packed out an arena, and these guys are not the 10%. Right. They represented the 90%. The 90% was those people that were there. So for him to say that he wants people to look at his game, he wants more than that 10% piece of the pie. He wants that 90%. He wants 100% around the board. 10% for you guys that want to hide behind cover and pop people in the neck. But what about that guy that don't get that kill, but he got that assist? Let's keep that guy engaged. So the level of changing that's going forward. The only people out here crying about, Gears has changed in any form or fashion is these hardcore sweaties. And these
and that's what I can be. I definitely can be like that. So you're right. You're right. I probably am in the minority. You're right.
What aspect do you feel like was casualized besides, the participation trophies?
Just it's hard to really put my finger on sometimes, but there have been videos and stuff going around about the aim assist that they kind of put in there.
Didn't they fix that?
Not to my knowledge. I don't think they've actually really addressed it. They've mostly been addressing other things and fixing the bugs and things like that. But that's my knowledge.
We got 3 super chats.
Go ahead. Go for it.
We've already covered the other ones, didn't?
B.R.A.P got a super chat.
Oh, B.R.A.P. Okay, so we got $5 super chat from B.R.A.P. Did you guys hear about Participella? I definitely butchered his name. Tweets regarding the challenges of subscription services regarding devaluing the growth and mature gaming markets. No, I didn't. I didn't hear about none of that. Did you guys?
I did. Yeah, no. It's interesting. You know what I'm saying? You gotta understand, like, Game Pass is still in the infancy stages, and there's a lot of things that we have to see as this thing matures, how it goes. And in comparison to other subscription services out there, we've never seen this with gaming. We have to see. So I think it's a risk that, like Erica said, like, it's a risk Microsoft is willing to check based on their pocket watching of their own finances. You know what I mean? So they're willing to.
Obviously, they have millions of customers. They want to.
They have how much?
Well, millions.
Millions.
Yeah, I mean, we got to see. We got to see. I mean, they clearly have this strategy for a reason. As far as the whole, let me just jump in real quick. As far as the whole, was it 9.5 million thing or whatever?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. The whole thing where, was it GAF? I believe they put it out. Yeah, I don't know, man, because it's like, I heard.
But if you remember correctly, at Gamescom, or was it last year's XO, he said they had a couple million already, like 2 to 3.
Right. They probably do. I mean, the problem is Microsoft is not divulging the numbers, right? So we still can't officially know. Now, again,
I feel like if they had 9, though, they would be open about that.
I don't think so.
Right.
I don't think so. I think Phil's going to keep that same energy. Because you know what, you lend yourself to more criticism when you start talking about your accomplishments, when you don't talk about your defeats. And if you're going to keep that same energy, no matter what, you must hold that line and let your actions speak for itself. If you adopt that philosophy, and he's adopted that philosophy, so the we should not be speaking on any numbers. Keep that same mantra, because if at any point you change, you are going to be vilified in ways that you have no idea.
But see, here's the only thing I disagree with is that I hear what you're saying with that. And I was fine with that when they took that approach with the MPD stuff. They're like, look, we ain't doing this console style stuff no more. We're going to do engagement, right? Game Pass is their number one thing for engagement. And then it's like, yo, now we're not doing engagement. So why I guess my thing is, again, I'm cynical. I'm skeptical of always. I'm not saying they're not doing well. They could be doing exactly what you said.
But
I would just like to have that transparency.
No, okay. Subscription numbers is numbers, is not engagement. Now you can say engagement, and you can try to extrapolate the number out of that, which are what equates to each person. So if you say we have engagement numbers that rival 300 million hours played in a week, and then you start to try to extrapolate that into what each hour works out for each person, somebody can do that. That's their business. I don't think they take away from that I think that will be announced as far as the engagement level, and it will give you a percentage on the uptake and what people are actually doing inside Game Pass to show you the positive results. But at no point in time do I think they divulge the exact number of how many people are actively subscribed to
I
Game
hear you.
Pass.
I hear you.
Let's
I
go ahead and
guess
take care of these,
the super chat. Yeah, I'll take the super chat. Then I got one more to say after that.
So we got a $20 super chat from Cat Daddy Fat Stacks. Bought my pops a year worth of Game Pass Ultimate for his birthday, and I haven't gotten a call from him since. He's been locked away in his man cave gaming. Guess who earned his big piece of deep fried turkey this Thanksgiving? You know what, Cat Daddy Fat Stacks?
Salute.
You're definitely on to something.
Cool.
I hope you enjoy your fried turkey, man. I don't think we eat turkey like that, but
Deep fried.
yeah, we got a $2 super chat from Hustle and Motivate. Glad to see my OG Erica with the Lords. We're glad she's here too.
Shout out to Hustle.
All right, Hustle and Motivate, that name.
We got 128 people, man. Here. Definitely appreciate everyone from showing up. Definitely hit that like button if you guys don't mind. We try to get that above 100 before the end of the show.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I'm just gonna I've always on the side of transparency. So again, when the opposition is doing it, I just would like Microsoft to do it. You know what I'm saying? Now it's up to them, of course. You know what I'm saying? But again, do we really know the hard and fast numbers? I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? So to me, this is still all speculation. I think it's a great service value for the gamer. Like I told y'all before, I don't care. I ain't pocket watching. It's better for me. It's better for gamers. So let it continue. You know what I'm saying? That's ultimately where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I'm with that too. It's good for us. So I mean, what are we worried about, you know? But yeah, you definitely have people out here like, why are you so cheap? I've had people tell me that on Twitter, like, why don't you just support the game? Go buy the game. You're cheap. I'm like, I can play this for $1 on my PC. You're telling me to go out and pay full price?
What's funny is
what?
They're mad.
Lady Luke actually brought that up in Scumcast yesterday. She said, you have one spectrum of people calling me cheap because I have Game Pass, and then you have one spectrum of people, the same people, saying that I'm gold chain gaming because I'm buying the Elite Controller 2.
You can't win. You can't win with some people. You really can't.
You know what? I'm going to be cheap, and if that causes that way, listen, I'm fine with it. I don't think there's anybody on this planet that can call me cheap. Cheap, but if I see value in something, I don't care what you think. You can keep up with me in Game Pass. This is what I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna go get those 200 games for my little $14 a month, right? I'm gonna do this, and I want you to buy all 200 games to keep up with me, man. Come on, let's keep.
You know what it is like we always argue a point that we come from, right? And you don't step away from it and say, all right, what is the person that isn't the hardcore gamer? How do they see this, right?
Right.
And I think that is what they're looking at. They know they have us in pocket. They're worrying about how they get everybody else in pocket. And again, how many people purchase a console for one console for their home, right? And purchase 1 to 3 games a year. They play Madden, they'll play FIFA, whatever. They'll play Call of Duty, and maybe that's it.
I literally have a cousin that just buys Madden every year. That's literally all he buys.
But if you were able to convince him, like, look, man, for $10 a month, you have access to all these games. Maybe you like 1 or 2 of them, like whatever. But it's just $10 a month. You're not gonna feel it. All of a sudden, that's what they want. That's what they want, and that's what they're gonna get. Like, you know what I mean? Like, more and more, that's what they're gonna get. So it's just, you know, sometimes you just gotta step away from your perspective on the argument and see it from someone else.
You know what? Hold on, I gotta address Chief Tommy.
After you address Chief Tommy,
you know what? Yo, Chief Tommy, you're a straight up fraud, my dude.
Oh!
I'm gonna address you right now because you're gonna sit there and say, King, you're not even playing half those games in Game Pass. Let me tell you something, sir.
It's kind of hard to play 200 games though.
I'm not doing that. I'm not playing half the games that I got. I have over 500 360 games. All right, more than 500 360 games. I sold all my PlayStation 3 games to get a PlayStation 4. Because I didn't think they were
We're going to need that fraud alert again.
Right? So I'm going to tell you, no, I have 200 games in there that I'm not playing, but on average, I check out 1 game per week that I would never buy. I would never sit there and put a quarter, a nickel, dime, or penny into this game. I was never buying ukulele, sir, and I'm playing it, right? So Who did that for me? Phil Dominus Maximus Spencer, sir. All right. So when you feel like
Aurelius,
you want to pocket chain me? You see that $600, $700 statue that's behind me? It's not finances with me, brother. That's never gonna be an issue with me. But the thing is absolute value, because I would never in this lifetime run down to the store and say, "Oh, let me buy this certain
ukulele."
Ukulele.
I was not buying it. I don't care if they made Conquer. I don't care if they made Banjo Kazooie. I was not buying it. But on God in them. When I saw it inside Gamepass, I downloaded them. And I don't know who them is, but God knew that I was playing it. All right? So you can sit there and try to shame me for going in there and playing ukulele for free, but on God in them, that was worth my money.
You gotta stop. You gotta stop.
It's going crazy.
Moving along.
So before we continue, Solve, I'm not embarrassing myself for pronunciations for a couple minutes. Why don't you take care of this 2 super chats we have?
The last 2 super chats. Okay. Shout out to One Bad Mother with the $4.99 super chats. Gamefly, used games, and free-to-play devalued games too. Let's worry about whether it's working for us. They're playing the long game. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And shout out to B.R.A.P. With the $2 super chat. Sony, give us first party day and date. Will not
imagine.
Jim
Imagine
Ryan.
that.
Ryan has some things to say about that on our next time.
Ryan has some things to say about that, Lord B.R.A.P. That was very timely because we'll be talking about that in a moment. Jim Ryan is trying to put himself atop the mountain.
We're gonna get to that.
We're gonna get to that.
Chapstick on, because you're gonna crack your lips on this.
No doubt.
Oh my, we going there?
We're going there.
We going there. We're gonna throw
That's a perfect segue for you guys.
Perfect segue.
Obviously, let's go ahead and get this. I can't stop laughing. All right, give me a second. All right, so the past couple of days, we've had some other leadership changes that's happened. Yoshida has stepped down. He is now in charge of the indies. I don't know. Is he in charge of the department that goes out and seeks indies?
He will be leading a new company initiative designed to support independent developers. That's going to be his new role.
So
because that guy stepped down.
Because Gio Corsi left,
right?
And I would not say Gio Corsi's position was not at the level that ShuheiYoshida's position was at. We'll say that,
right?
So what I want to ask people is, do you think that all of this changing of leadership is going to affect the PS5? And if you do think it's going to affect it in any way, how would you feel like it would affect it? Or maybe you just don't feel like it's going to affect it at all. Maybe you feel that they had all their ducks in a row before they started doing these. Because I feel like when you have a change of leadership this drastic, because this isn't just one person. Right. He's still in the company, but he's not in that position anymore. And you got a lot of the people that really were responsible for the PS4 era. They're not there anymore. They're not even in the same position.
Hashtag not my Sony.
So let's start with LordCognito, because I will never be able to pass the torch to him, and I'm gonna do that right now.
All right. First, before I get started, we got 2 super chats. Shout out to Cat Daddy Fat Stacks. King backed him into the bushes like Homer Simpson. And Smitty Smith with the $5 super chat. All God in him. King, I think you're on this song. B.R.A.P. with the $2 super chat. Erica, we need to have you as a guest on B.R.A.P. How you gonna be promoting?
Yo, shout out to B.R.A.P. for using his platform. God bless you,
shout out for B.R.A.P. for getting his poach on. Everybody's trying to get into the free agency Erica sweepstakes, it seems.
We'll talk, B.R.A.P. We'll talk.
He gotta hit you up in the bag, Eric.
Hey. We'll talk after the show.
Oh, damn.
Deliver it like Kojima delivering that.
Oh, man, shout out to B.R.A.P. for shooting the shot. Anyway, it's a lot going on, right? So we got, Hulst? He was the co-founder for Guerrilla. And now, he's going to be running things, man. He's best known for Killzone, Horizon Zero Dawn, all that good stuff. And then Yoshida now going to the independent developers. So that's pretty much a new role for him. I was taking a look at Twitter and some of the Sony base to see where they were coming at. And a lot of them are very positive about the move. They're saying that, for the most part, they're saying how Sony kind of dropped the ball with indies since the start of the PlayStation 4 generation. Remember when they came out the gate like super hot? It was all about the reso guns and all that other stuff, and then they kind of went away from indies. And if you look at it, in the beginning, Xbox really wasn't about the indies, and then now they're kind of in that spot with Charla and IO at Xbox and all that stuff. So that's the first thing. And then HermanHulst, people feel that's a good fit too. They said he was with Sony for a long time. They said most importantly also I don't know if responsible for Decima, but he's one of the people that helped shepherd it, and Decima looks like they're going to really be relying on an engine for PS5. For me personally, the vibe I get, if you listen to Jim Ryan, he had a great interview at gamesindustry.biz. And the vibe he's talking about was that there's 3 PlayStations. That it was always the US, the European, and the Japan. And they all operated as separate entities. And now they're trying to do this globalization-centric stuff. And, now, like a lot of people say, hey, if it wasn't broke, why not fix it? I know where you're going at it, because a lot of people feel the same way. It's going to remain to be seen. I mean, I do agree with him that they needed to be centralized. I do agree with him that, what Xbox is doing is really competitive coming into next gen. And I think they're positioning themselves and putting their feet on the pedal. The only thing I'm concerned about, where I probably agree with Attic and King, most likely I think I'm going to agree with them, is that I always get nervous when it's this amount of shakeup. Like it's one thing, okay, one person, I got it. It just feels like the last 3 ILPs, we've talked about someone leaving, moving, shifting, changing, right? So all I can say is I hope all this infrastructure stuff pans out for them, because this is a lot of turnover. This is a lot of upheaval. That's
another Sony dude leaving.
Perfect timing.
Shout out to the peel off of a highway right across the street.
See, Pink's face when he said
that was perfect. That was so perfect.
He looked behind him, had that big smile. Like, did you see that?
It could have been better timing. But look, we'll see. I mean, on paper, it sounds like the right move. But I have to see. When there's this much turnover at the top, one leaves me a little concerned that they have everything on deck for PlayStation 5.
Let's get
that's
that
all
super chat, because let me first preface this. I'm not gonna read it. I'm gonna let Cog read it, because
yes,
Cog started this. But Jonathan B has been with us and engaging in our chat forever. And let me tell you something. Jonathan B has never dropped a nickel in this chat. And it takes something to move this man in such a manner to put a nickel in this chat. And let me tell you, I truly appreciate you being here, sir. So I'm not pocket watching, and I'm not shaming you. I'm just telling you, I know something had to move you to say, today is the day I'm gonna do this. I'm so happy. When you're not in the chat, I miss you. Trust
King
me.
was like, I have not seen you for so long. It's so nice to see you.
Missed you,
Shout out to Jonathan B with the $10 super chat. Salute, Lords. I gotta support this premium content on God in them. King is truly taking us to the next level. Let me go deliver some packs. BB move that dope. I know he's stupid. Shout out to Jonathan B, man. He a fool.
Don't be doing those verse things, man. Before you know it, they're gonna be asking me to do that. I ain't doing that.
You gonna get Smitty Smith? Who got Smitty Smith?
No, I'm not.
Get Smitty Smith.
Shout out to Smitty Smith with the $5
Oh, super chat. I thought you were saying something else.
Hold up. Didn't Sony say that just focusing on only AAA games from here on out, Yoshida new job is indies?
Yeah, he got the bushes.
He fired.
He in the straight bushes. Shout out to In the Bushes in the stores right now, where you can find a lot of Sony execs in the bushes.
Wow.
I'll put the link in the description.
Are you saying the entire Sony headquarters is built in the bushes?
When it's my turn, y'all better buckle up, son, because I'm about to go in on these dudes.
Good to you, man. But yeah, that's all I got. Let's get Lady Erica in some.
So he still is at Sony. He's doing the indie thing now.
Honestly,
I mean, I think it's a good thing. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I don't think the PS5 is going to be like, affected.
Individually is a bad thing. I think maybe all of them together is a bad thing.
How many has there been? Because I've been sort of out of the loop. Has there been that many?
It's been like 10 to 15 people.
Obviously, we got Layden, Ryan, Then we got, what was that dev sob that we talked about that he just went away from
Damn, the one, the indie dude, the
No,
indie controller,
the Last of Us 2 guy, was it?
The Ayatollah indie controller.
There was the Japanese,
and then the Japanese counterpart also with Lady, and I think they also left at the same time.
No, let's not forget all the departments that they fired. Let's not forget the full
and the European
turnaround.
division. Yes.
Look at King, can't live and breathe. Let's not forget that.
Let's not forget the full turnaround. Let's just not forget this.
That is a handful of people. I mean, they're important people. There's those names. I know who they are. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, maybe, I don't want to speak too soon before PS5 comes out, but maybe the direction they're going with it, maybe there's something they're trying to focus on as far as being different.
Then you have some of their executives saying that they're going to start focusing more on streaming.
See, that's what I'm kind of worried about. But I mean, as far as the console itself and how it's going to perform and all that, they got those ducks in the line, like you said. That's ready to go. I mean, they just got to make it and ship it and get it ready for next year. I think the PS5 is what it is now. What they contributed to it, if they did, that's what it's going to be, and they left their mark already. I think Shuhei, if he was involved at all, it's done. That's how I feel. I think PS5 is fine.
So you feel that he already put his part in, so they got rid of him. They was like, maybe you did your part, get up out of here. So
maybe he felt, rewarded enough. Like, hey, I did my part. I'm gonna go focus on this now, and it is what it is. Maybe. And
so you assume that it was his idea. Okay, I did this, guys. I'm just gonna step away, y'all. Yeah,
I don't know. But let me flex real quick. I actually met Shuhei.
There it is.
Let's get it.
He's a very nice dude. He never says no to a picture. I have a picture with pictures with him. Great guy. He's cool. And so I don't know, man. I just feel like Sony, they're fine. It's really going to take a lot for me to think like, oh man, they're really messing up now. Like that PS5's got to do some damage. Something's got to happen for me to see some effects. Like, okay, this mattered. Them stepping down or whatever. Like, I don't want to speak too soon and think it's the end of the world or anything, because people do that with Xbox.
Yeah.
So left and it's doom and gloom. But then when it's Sony, they're quiet. It's like, what's up? What's really going on? I don't want to be one of those where because for one, I don't really know everything that's going on behind the scenes. So
Yoshida is not doing big things no place. Chris, I'm gonna tell you now, man. I like you, but stop frauding yourself. I'm not gonna give you that like, man. I'm not gonna give you that like.
I'm gonna tell you this: like, if we see Yoshida leave within the next couple of months, then we know. Then we know
this is gonna happen to him. He's gonna be inside his little cubicle, and this is gonna come out.
But I will say this though: the fact that they put him in charge of indies is interesting for a couple of reasons. One, that at the start of this generation, they were strong with indies, and that kind of put them over the top a little bit, where they had these games that Microsoft just wasn't even addressing. Like, they forget it. They had nothing in the works. They had a lock on it, right? Now, I'll tell you this: when it comes to PlayStation Now, if they're gonna push PlayStation Now bigger, obviously they've already said we're not putting our first party big games day and date, day one, right? How do you mitigate that? You get somebody like Shuhei in charge of getting indies day and date, day one, to look more similar to Game Pass. Not exactly Game Pass, but I think if you put somebody like Yoshida at the helm of something like that, that makes sense. Because that's a
Game Pass Lite.
Game Pass Lite.
Okay, all right.
Or like.
All right, Game Pass.
They're not doing that big time first party thing now, if ever, right? I don't think that's. But to me, they're looking at Game Pass and they're seeing indie games day and date, day one launching on there. They're seeing the Outer Worlds launching in Game Pass in addition to launching everywhere else day and date. I think I think this could be what that is, that they're putting Yoshida in a position where he has to make PlayStation Now into something more akin to Game Pass.
Right.
And that is an important job, I would say.
Then we got B.R.A.P in the B.R.A.P, what's up?
Oh, he has a jump run. That's the stuff.
I want to thank Lord Addict for the invite. And let me tell you something, guys. I put down DeathStranding to be here because I'm a huge fan of the Iron Lords podcast. But more importantly, I wanted to introduce myself to your guest Erica and
Hello.
personally extend. Oh my
God! Oh my God!
I see what's going on here. Okay.
Wording going on here.
There's a lot of is this the free agency signing period?
Yo, Cog,
get your agent, Erica. Get your agent. Don't speak until you get your lawyer. Get your agent.
This is more egregious than my undead.
We have a super chat.
Yes.
We have a super chat real quick. Now, I did put Erica. A couple people are asking. Her YouTube is in the chat right now. We have a $5 super chat from Dizzy. Sony has one meeting with Overseer Sith Lord. I'm definitely not trying to butcher that. Satya. When it starts firing and rearranging everyone, everything is going according to plan.
No doubt. But let's get B.R.A.P.S perspective, man. I mean, obviously we've seen a lot of shakeup going on. You know, people changing role. Yoshida's got to do a role. You know, B.R.A.P, where you at with everything that's happening on Sony? Are you concerned? Not? So, you know, it's a good thing. Where you at with this?
I'm not really concerned. I think one of the big things that Jim Ryan said is like, you know, like complacency is a killer. Like he said that, you know, historically speaking, there's never been a back-to-back winner, if you will, for console generations. And the fact that they recognize that, and he talked about, hey, we can't be complacent. I think that speaks to a lot of the moves that you're seeing them do right now.
I think that's the PS3 era speaking to them.
Yeah, no, I think it is. I mean, look, I think what Erica said. I mean, bearing Sony coming out at E3 and telling us to get a second job again, I think they're okay. But I'm not shocked by any of these moves. I think they're trying to centralize things to kind of streamline the process and, you know, how quickly they put out marketing and games. And it seemed like there was a lot of redundancies that were going on, having 3 separate divisions. And let's face it, like Sony is a global brand. I mean, they'll still have those regional, you know, figureheads like in Eastern Europe and the US. But this is a global brand. And I think it sort of makes sense for them to streamline this as much as possible so that they can pivot if they need to. I mean, I think I know we joke around and I said it earlier, the super chat, like Sony needs to put their games day and date. As much as I would love that, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. But I do get the sense that Jim Ryan, even though he said, hey, you know, we value our games, they're putting them. The reason why I think they're streamlining things is because if they need to pivot on a dime, they can now do it.
Yes.
I don't think
without going through red tape.
I don't think y'all understand what streamlining does in a business, but I'm going to break that down to you because I've waited too long.
Go ahead, Kay. You ready? Go ahead, Kay. You can't take it.
We want the we want this, man. We need this.
I've seen people out here capping. Dudes, hey, I take pictures with Phil Spencer. Hey,
oh my God.
Let me tell you why you streamline in business to make yourself more palatable for sale. All right. So when you have too many extremities, what you're trying to do is you're trying to make a fist in business, and this fist can be sold, but you can't sell a hand that's open because you have too many extremities out there. So every region was an extremity, right? So what they had to do was they had to trim the fat, right? And they trimmed the fat, they got that stuff around, they brought their numbers down to a more palatable number. So when somebody purchases a company, they purchase it as a whole. They don't want all these other stuff, and they don't want to come in as new management and start cutting off things. They want to purchase it as a whole, and they want to move forward. So that's why you got the view going. That's why you have all these turnarounds with people that are unstable in their position, and they see we're not privy to all the background paperwork and stuff that's being talked about. This is why the company's mantra has flipped. Their company mantra has turned from, okay, we are so indie, it's fantastic. And then when you start having success with your first party AAA titles, then you drop your indies. All right. So that allows somebody else like Microsoft to come up and say, hey, we have a program that you guys can get in. We weren't on board this way. We didn't have the infrastructure. Don't change the rhetoric. They didn't have any games in the beginning. That's why they was doing indie stuff. Then when they got the game, they dropped these dudes like a hot potato. Y'all guys,
oh man!
Oh man!
Not like this, kid.
They said it. They said it. They actually said. I think it was Jim Ryan who said it. Like it was like, yeah, we focused a lot on indies in the beginning because we needed time to get our first party up. And
Stop
then
acting like I'm lying.
They actually said something to that effect.
Yo, what kind of Kool-Aid are y'all drinking? How much turnover?
King, it's not a bad thing for them to focus on delivering content. I mean, like, you know what? Like, would you you rather not have content at all and wait for first party? Like,
what
do you do? If
you know what? Microsoft came to the table with a whole bunch of games. This is not about what Microsoft is doing. Let's not lie here. All right, they didn't have any first-party games to push that system with. They had one.
Let's just be clear. We talk about the start of the generation, right?
Right.
Okay, so you're talking about. You're talking about at the beginning when these guys had Rise and Dead Rising 3.
Well, we did have Knack.
Right.
I'm done.
You're going to have Knack again in the beginning of PlayStation 5. You're going to have Knack 3. But this is it right here, guys. I'm concerned when I see this much level of turnover in any business. This is a business. When you see this level of turnover from the top down, it's not just okay. They changed out this guy or that guy and they're rearranging. They changed from the top down to the bottom. They restructured in a manner. The philosophy changed.
That's a good point.
And they dropped prices on PlayStation Now, and they did this. Listen, if they don't put games date and date in, it's okay. I don't care. They still have the sheeple that's going to purchase. I'm one of the sheeple, right? So I will purchase a God of War whenever it does come out. I will purchase a Last of Us whenever it does come out. But I'm not buying anything else. So I'm not really engaging in that company how they want me to engage with them. So they will have to get a service like PlayStation Now up and running properly for me to engage in that manner they want me to engage with them. Right? Because I'm not super hardcore with them that much that I'm buying everything that come out like Concrete Genie and crap like that. I'm not doing that. But there are people that are
medieval. You didn't get the medieval.
Yeah, let's keep that energy on that Concrete Genie, dudes. Y'all were sitting there with all
why they catching the smoke though? What Concrete Genie did to anybody?
Yeah, what they do to you?
What they do to you, kid?
I didn't hear anybody in the chat going crazy for Concrete Genie or medieval. No, I ain't heard anybody say anything about medieval.
Where's this energy at? But listen, the level of turnaround should be concerning. Nobody is addressing this stuff that's going on.
And then when I've seen people leave, and I think this is the case with
Google Hangouts crashed. I just restarted it, but
we're still here. We're still here.
We live or no?
Yeah, we should.
We live.
We should be.
I think
live.
I see us. So we're live. I think.
Let me refresh.
What happened? Just Google Hangouts crashed. It wasn't. It crashed on my end, so I had to restart.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, we're live.
Make sure I stream live. Okay, cool.
Okay, we live.
Right. Yeah, good. I want to jump in on that too. What you saying?
Yeah. So I mean, it's not like the thing with Sony. Like, it's not. Look, they are restructuring, but they're also bringing people in who've been with the company for a long time. The guy from GuerillaGames, he's been there for a long time. Jim Ryan's been there for a long time. There's still key people that are in the organization that they're just moving up to the ranks now.
No, I hear what you're saying, Brad. Okay, I just want to jump in real quick because I'm in the same situation. I'm literally in the same situation with my company as an IT company. And then, we kind of went through a huge restructuring. There was a buyout. I will say this. You're right. It does happen a lot. More times than you think.
Got dropped again.
Oh, we got dropped?
Yeah.
No, we're not dropped now.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm froze on my screen.
Yeah, mine
too. It crashed again in the chat. I don't know.
Yeah,
wait, so YouTube's dead?
Yeah, I see YouTube. It's just spinning. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
I reset it and it's crashed.
Oh no, it's live
saying
now.
We good. The chat saying we're good.
We're live.
Yeah, chat says we're good. No, all I was gonna say is this: like, I've been on both sides of it. I've seen the restructuring aspect, and I've seen two things. One, it does streamline. First of all, people's redundant positions are gonna get cut, right? So people who were doing one thing in Europe or whatever, people are going to lose jobs. That's a fact. Now, when you lose jobs and then when you streamline, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes the philosophy does change.
Can I ask a question? 1 second. You started it off with saying your company did what?
Restructure.
It got restructured. Why?
They got bought out.
Thank you.
That's the only reason why. That's not the only reason why, King.
But look, in King's defense, he is making some valid points because sometimes companies restructure to make themselves more attractive for. But I'm not saying Sony's getting bought out. I'm just saying sometimes that happens. But back to my overall point. The point is The only thing I'm concerned about on a corporate level or the business level, B.R.A.P, is that sometimes philosophies do change. And my only concern is because, let's be real, Sony's been killing this generation. They've been destroyed. Like, everything they've done has come up roses, right? So my only concern is, why necessarily change so much right at your pinnacle? It could be the greatest move ever. It could position them to be competitive and dominant once again. And my speculation could be unfounded, but I always concern myself when you have someone that's leading in the fashion that they are to do this much changing. I always say, hey, I hope this is the right thing. I hope this is the right direction. That's all.
Hey, Cog, real quick, I think that a lot of this has to do with, and just my opinion, I think the change that we're seeing, I think this is a response to, you have some new players in the gaming space now. We have the real Phil, who's giving us
Phil over this.
The real Phil. Yeah.
Phil guy.
Yeah. We have Stadia that's launching in like a week and a half. And then we have Apple, who's kind of stepped into the game.
Did you purchase?
Oh my God.
No, I'm not getting that. They can't even get
You're not getting it, but you out here toting, you running around with a flag. Yo, flag on the field. I gotta hit you with this. Flag on the field. You out here yelling all this dude name and the real Phil and all this other stuff, and you capping for this dude, but you ain't buying this stuff. I gotta stop you right here, sir.
Let me ask you guys a question. When King was talking just now and going on his rant, was anyone else seeing things in Xbox Green, or was that just me? My vision.
That is a known quantity.
My vision.
That's a known. That's a known thing, Erica.
I'm the one that named Phil Dominus Maximus Spencer. Soon to be a
I heard.
Thank you for your astute observation.
Hold up. King, you have to tell her the next ascended name.
Oh, Aurelius. I told her, soon to be Aurelius after he conquers this next generation.
Oh my God.
But you
continue.
You brought up something though, King, like, because you brought up the beginning of this generation, right, where they focused on indies. So if Shuhei is going to focus on indies, does that mean next gen's going to start like that? Like,
listen.
Did you figure it out?
The man already bent the knee. He already told you nobody ever wins this the second time around. That's done. You're finished. You're not winning.
I love when King extrapolates.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this, and we talked about this on
So King, just out of curiosity,
let's off it off.
You don't, and go back to Cognito's point, dude. You cannot. You can change for the sake of change when something isn't necessarily, at least outwardly, broken.
Right.
Doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because if you're following in Microsoft's footsteps, and you're looking at what they're doing and saying, yes, I'm reading the tea leaves, this is where we're going, it may work for Microsoft. I don't know that it works, and we said this before, I don't know that it works for Sony. Sony has always thrived as a result of being different than Microsoft. Always thrived as a result of being different than Microsoft. What happens when there's parity in every single level? In terms of console power, in terms of at least output of first-party output. Forget about
streaming.
We do know
streaming
it's not power that has been established.
So this is the thing. Is that the right move?
Oh my God!
And it goes back to Cog's point. It's like when you change philosophy, right? And it looks like they're following suit with Microsoft. Does that suit what's Sony's customers and the customers that went to Sony because they're so different than Microsoft?
Hey, can I
go for it, Matt? Yeah, Brad.
I want to address something Soft said. I really think, guys, this is a response to Google coming in and potentially being a disruptor. I know we joke around about Google and stuff and Stadia,
absolutely.
I really think for Sony, it's like maybe much more than, maybe not as much as for like Microsoft, but I think Stadia coming in and doing what they're doing, I think Sony's like, wait a minute, we need to potentially position ourselves to pivot if we need to, because as the market shifts, and we see this in other industries, if there's a disruptor in an industry, if the market shifts, they don't want to be left behind. They want to be able to pivot if they need to stay competitive. And I think that's what a lot of the changes that we're seeing, potentially, maybe we'll see, allows them to do if that happens. Because there's new players in this. I mean, Google, Apple's in this now, Amazon's in this.
Where are they going to pivot to? What they pivoting to? You keep telling me they're gonna pivot. They're gonna
so
pivot.
King, I do have a quick question.
I want to know where they pivot into though.
I think you'll probably see them if they have to. Let's say the market shifts, streaming becomes big. I think you'll see them pivot towards more of a similar Stadia, maybe xCloud type model, and maybe rely less on hardware. And then maybe you see them, put games day and date first party.
Time out. You just said, time out.
Oh my
Here we go.
No, because you know what? I love when they drink the juice and then the juice turn into green juice. They gonna walk away from hardware? Wasn't we vilifying Microsoft? Because you thought Microsoft could get out of hardware?
Oh, here we go.
Wait a second.
Here we go.
Palatable to these dudes jumping out of hardware, but if Microsoft do it, you not palatable to
No. Let me say, I'm okay if Microsoft gets out of hardware. I'm okay if the barriers to hardware are broken down.
Right.
I'm okay if everything becomes an app and I can game on the ultimate machine, which is the PC.
Oh, that's the race. That's the race.
Okay, what? Let's take the PC out of it. Being that we can't take the PC now because you're doing a lot of capping all over the place. I'm just trying to get you capped into one position. All right, I'm just trying to
all I need is my PC. That's all I need. That's all I need.
So, all right. So then, right now, so you're not either a PlayStation gamer or a Microsoft gamer. You're a PC gamer.
No, I'm a gamer.
No, he's a Microsoft gamer. He's on PC.
I'm trying to figure out what he's doing because
right. I am a Microsoft gamer on PC.
Pivoting. You doing the pivoting and the moving. I'm just trying to peg you down to get you into see this. Listen, Erica knows right now. She knows
you're never gonna pin down Lord Chancletas, man. It's never gonna happen.
Flip-flops on. You got them flip-flops.
Exactly.
Lord Erica right now can see that I'm capping for Microsoft. Even if you go to my gamer pick, it's me and Phil. I understand that.
No, I know. I'm not.
Exactly. Y'all gotta understand that part. So listen, I'm not one time are you gonna say that I'm not gonna stay in this one position. My energy has always stayed the same. All right. So I'm not drinking different types of Kool-Aid. I'm just drinking one Kool-Aid. All right. But you've been telling me they're doing this to position themselves and pivot themselves. My question is, where are they pivoting to?
Well, I just told you, if the Stadia thing takes off.
What is that ring?
What's that? Someone
sound? Needs to go answer the phone, man.
Somebody answer the phone. Go ahead, Brad.
No, I was gonna say if the
that's
streaming
Sony
thing really takes off,
telling them what they're gonna pivot.
yeah. Jim Ryan's like, hey, stop talking about pivoting. No, I mean, if it becomes a situation where they need to, I mean, where they have to pivot to streaming or make that investment, I think that's why they're putting and making these changes, like the partnership with Microsoft, with the
rely on Microsoft Azure's cloud system.
Yeah, I don't blame them for that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Absolutely. That's a smart thing for them to do. They clearly don't have the infrastructure to do it. So if they could do it with Microsoft, why not?
So I guess the question, hold on, let me jump in because y'all making great points. The question now, tying that into what King's asking you and then tying that into what Sav is asking, do we think from a philosophy standpoint that is somewhat adopting Microsoft philosophy on some level, right? So are we concerned that they may be changing their DNA, their identity, which is the exclusives, the not being on different platforms and stuff like that, that kind of gave them that success this generation. Are you concerned about them losing their brand identity on any level?
You know what, man? For me, the biggest thing is the games. If the games are there, I'm okay. At the end of the day, to me, that's paramount. If the quality of the first party is still there, ultimately, that's all I really care about.
Right, I feel. So your whole thing is until you see a decrease in quality with the games, then you have pause concern. But until then you're fine. Okay.
I think that's fair. But at the same time, I do think that's like this amount of leadership change, it might not be concerning, but it's worth talking about.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe not as much as Lord King is making it out there.
All the stuff that I talked about has come true. Y'all can sit there and say I'm willy-nilly crazy out here. All the stuff that I've talked about have come true. I told you both those dudes was gonna get X'd out on that stage. Y'all laughed me off.
You did. You did. We laughed at you. We did.
Stop acting like I don't see it happening. Y'all are sitting there drinking the wrong juice. It's not looking right over there.
It's not looking right. It's looking spooky, King.
No, listen, from a business perspective, I don't care what's going on. Cog just told you.
King next. next week, I want you to be drinking green juice on stream.
You know what?
Can't cook it right now.
What might happen is this: when your PlayStation 5 ship, it might have an Amazon logo on it.
Oh my God! Here we go.
What? Listen, they are the only gaming company that is always brought up with being purchased. They are the only. They're not Microsoft. When y'all talk about Microsoft, they might be out of the gaming space. They might not make a console. That has been debunked. That has been put into bushes. You know, that has been shown to your face that we're going hard in this space and we're going to win in this space, right? And I'm not saying we, because I'm not getting a nickel from it. But what I'm talking about, that's their mantra going forward. Nintendo is never getting out. Nintendo is always going to have something in your hand in some weird form of fashion to yank your wallet. And listen, Nintendo doesn't care about power. Nintendo doesn't care about anything but you spending money and winning every holiday season, which they have won every MPDs. I have bent the knee to that, and I don't care because that's their space. We don't ever see Nintendo getting out of that space, even with they losing with the GameCube.
I mean, they're one of the very few companies that actually can get away with selling you the same game over and over again. Like they really can.
At the same price,
and I, for one, we'll buy it over and over again.
Exactly. Yo, shout out to the chat real quick. Jonathan B. King equals the Oracle on God in them. Slow-mo backslap. He said, y'all ain't see a decrease in quality this year. He said they went from God of War, Detroit, and Spider-Man to Days Gone, Concrete GD, and Death Stranding. So, Brad, Slow-mo, your podcast mate is saying he's seeing the writing on the wall. He said it's going down.
I'm going to address him on Wednesday. He's going to get roasted on Wednesday.
The motion is coming.
Yo, Slow-mo, you might be in trouble, man. I'll try to keep you on Brap, but Brap ain't happy.
We're going to address that Wednesday.
They already shot they shot. So they holding back that one last bullet because they know they got you salivating. They told you it was coming out.
Like if we don't get this direct
talking about the Last of Us.
Yeah. And then Last of Us got pushed back into the bushes. And you know what? That's just for quality control because at some point in time, you know, when it releases, it's going to be a better game.
Oh my God.
The same game that you would have got. They just don't got any games to give you.
Oh my! Oh God in them!
Oh God!
God in them!
Oh my God! Your King is hilarious.
King's definitely right though about having their own space. You talked about Nintendo with the handheld, space, and then you got PlayStation holding it down with the console space and doing their thing with their exclusives and all of that. It seems like the natural way for Xbox to go where they're going with the streaming, with the play everywhere, play on PC. That's their space now, and it's all about the services now. So I'm with you on that. Like that's common sense, but
that's a great point. Yeah, and that's Microsoft's DNA as a company right now, anyway.
And that's not going to stop. So when people are saying, "Oh, Xbox is dead," they're not selling enough consoles. I don't think Microsoft necessarily cares as much as we do. I think they're still making their money elsewhere.
That's a good point.
So.
That's a good
point. They're still that division is still profitable. I mean,
$10 billion tells you that.
Speaking of Xbox, I'd love to keep talking about how much Sony's low-key dropping the ball, but we got to move on because we still have XO to talk about, and we don't have a whole lot of time left.
Yeah. Hey guys, real quick, I don't mean to interrupt. I do got to go though. I just wanted to come on real quick and say hello.
Come in here and shoot a shot at Eric.
All right. Nice to meet you, Brap.
Yeah, nice meeting you too, Erica.
Salute, Brap.
Yeah. Well, hey guys, real quick, I do want to give you guys a big shout out to getting to 2,000 subs. That's awesome.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, no, seriously, you guys are one of the best podcasts out there. So congratulations again.
Thank you, brother.
And Erica, we got to connect on Twitter so we can get you.
Oh my! If you don't stop shooting, get shot on the way out.
This is not even a regular pistol. He out here with the ooh-wop like
that.
Yeah. And we got to talk about E3, man.
Yo,
we got to finish that conversation.
You got to get in those DMs because I just talked to another person. I'm not going to talk about it now because that's going to be a real huge thing. Right now, we're getting the PAX credentials and all that stuff together first, and then we're going to be moving on to E3, and I'll be giving y'all the particulars on how everything is going to move forward. But of course, you always got a bed in our home, sir.
I appreciate it, man. I'm looking forward to it, man. Like I said, I already told the wife, so she knows what the deal is.
Yeah. She let you know what the deal was. She said, yes, you can go. You did great.
You may go. All right, guys. I'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Peace.
So we have the XO. XO 2019.
Can we just stop about this?
And I believe it's on the 14th, isn't it? So that's in 4 days. One of the biggest things I really want to go into XO is, first off, what is your "it's not happening" moment? Obviously, it's not an E3, but I still like to know if be realistic. King, don't say they're buying Sony.
No.
2, what is something that you think's going to happen? And 3, who of what fan base do you think's going to enjoy this the most?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's like, you going to me first, or you going to Erica first?
Yeah. We'll go to King David first. No, we'll save you for last. We'll save you for last. We'll go to Erica. Erica, what is the thing that you want to happen?
Put me on the spot. I haven't really thought about it. What I want to happen, this kind of goes in with I don't think it's happening, and that's Fable. I really want to see Fable and what's up with that game, and if it's coming or what. Like I would. That was one of my favorite franchises on 360. So yeah, it's kind of the same answer for both. Like I want it to happen, but I don't think it's happening. But I don't know. I haven't really thought about it though. It kind of put me on the spot. I mean, I'm assuming it, because based on the track record, and I really don't tune in. I kind of catch the footnotes, but they've been kind of disappointing. I haven't really been truly like crazy going hype over something as far as XO goes, and I'm hoping they just do that for me in some way. Like show me something that I can be hyped about. I think they're going to focus on that one game, right? From what's that developer? You guys know the one they just purchased.
Ninja Theory, Obsidian.
Ninja Theory.
Okay.
Ninja Theory.
If you look at it,
they showing that?
Aaron Greenberg, he posted a picture, and he said in the picture, he said that there was Rare that was going to be there, and it said Sea of Thieves. There was Ninja Theory there, and it said Bleeding Edge. The top one is redacted, so we have no clue what that is. But what I felt was interesting is Obsidian didn't say Outer Worlds; it said Obsidian, and I felt like, if they put the games for the other ones, why didn't they do that with Obsidian? If it was an Outer Worlds DLC, they would have put Outer Worlds there. Considering they put Sea of Thieves and they put Bleeding Edge.
Yeah, I agree. I want to jump around that real quick because, as you know, I'm biggest Obsidian fanboy. But like, to be honest, I didn't think they would have any presence at all there. And then when I seen them there, I'm like, okay, they're gonna be there, but but like Alex said, when you look at the Xbox, the XO19 list, you see everybody listed with their games. Ninja Theory, with Bleeding Edge, everybody. Obsidian's not listed, so it does have me like, yo, are they going to announce something? Is like Slow-Mo was saying, like there's another thing that says redacted, and it's not a game and not a developer, so. I think we get some surprise. I think we do get something. I'm trying to keep expectations low. It's still inside Xbox. You know how I feel about that.
Right.
But I do think they do have at least 1 or 2 surprises. And hopefully one is a new IP. It's something new that they could talk about.
Yeah, I'm with that. Just something to get excited about.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think for me, maybe one more studio acquisition, whatever the case may be, something small. I mean, I have no idea what it could be, but one more studio acquisition just to sort of just ice the cake a little bit. And then, I mean, in terms of other stuff, I'd like to see something cool like Streets of Rage 4 launching in Gamepass or something like that.
Ooh, I think that's a definite.
Like a day-and-date thing.
The fact that they got the demo up there.
Yeah.
And remember, shout out to me. He's out there in the PAX. I had that interview.
Yes,
that would be a good backing from Microsoft to put that in Game Pass to get them that exposure. Because that was a passion project.
And it's out today.
And it's out, that's a passion project for those devs. So they got the approval from Sega to do that. So it makes sense. The dots connect, so I'm with you on that one.
Let me ask the chat something real quick. Obviously there's a lot of, I want to ask you guys, there's a lot of going on about huge rumors about acquisitions. First off, I want to ask the chat, what's the acquisition that you think that's realistic, and what do you guys think that they might buy if there is a studio that's bought at XO? because Matt Booty and Phil Spencer are going to be there. I have a feeling that they're going to announce they bought something.
Then. If you got Booty and Spencer in the
they're both going to be there?
Yeah.
I'm going.
They got something big to announce.
They're actually flying media out to the event.
Shout out to Jess Gordon. I mean, he's the one that told us. He was like, normally with the XOs, we're like, maybe 1 or 2 people they fly. If they're flying out this many people, they have clearly something huge to announce. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to bring all these people out. So that's why I do think this is different. Normally, I'm very down on this, as I said, Xbox, but I think this is very different. There's definitely going to be something supposedly.
Maybe the name of the console, maybe the actual name of the console. Just give that, since you have the PS5 out there already.
Maybe, but you don't think they saved that for like the usually like that February March reveal where they just talk about a console, and I think we usually get it there.
But true. But at the same time, I guess just the name, you could just drop the name and people be like, oh, whatever. It's the thing you could just drop and you don't have to say much more. You don't have to say much more. But that's very interesting. I would say this though. Another thing to look out for is maybe it give more concrete sort of information about when Game Pass proper launches, maybe open it up to more people. Sorry, xCloud. When maybe open it up to more people. And I'll be honest too, I think you gotta look out for Wasteland 3 and In Exile.
Oh yeah.
Right, Microsoft right now is riding a high of these Western RPGs. Like obviously the Outer Worlds is big, and I think In Exile is gonna benefit from that. And I think everything that I've seen from Wasteland 3, it seems like it's another one of those that's absolutely fantastic. People might be turned off by the isometric stuff, but just the fact that they're riding this high of like quality Western RPGs could bode really well for that game.
So we do have a $2 super chat from J-Mo Scarlett. Says, will Sony announce something to kill their thunder? What can they announce at this point?
The release date for Last of Us.
They already have that.
The real one? No. The new
delayed again. The new release date.
Delayed again. It's coming out.
So you're talking about the new release date?
The new release date.
No doubt. What you think? What you think, King? What you think? Phil Dominus got top, man.
Let's say out of the realm of possibility. Okay, I'm privy to know how many people that's going to be there and who they called out there, right? So, in knowing this, out of the realm of possibility, they show 5 new IPs, right? Being that I know exactly 5 studios that's going to be there, that they already acquired. So, they show some work from those 5 those studios to get y'all lathered up. Let me see. I do believe that they're gonna show you 2 new studio acquisitions, because if you're going into a service model type of thing, you're trying to actually load your bullets in your chamber. More studios, and I believe they will probably like to release a new game per month, even if it's small. Every 4 to 5 months. AAA title, indie titles, day and date once a month in the space of the AAA 5-month cycle, so that can keep Game Pass continually growing and showing you its value. So I believe that they're going to show at least 2 new studios acquisitions. Now, any information on the console, I'm with it in line with Sovereign. I think they will give you the name to get you excited.
Y'all hopeful for this XO. Keep in mind, this is inside Xbox, man. Y'all getting real hopeful, boy.
The difference between this XO is the first time that it's in London, right? And
second, I think.
Well, I'm talking about the Fan Fest.
You're right.
It's the first time it's the Fan Fest that's in London, and they have been selling tickets.
Was in Mexico.
Yeah. They've been selling tickets to this one, so they kind of changed the way FanFest was working, whereas you purchase tickets in a sense, and they was telling that it was still up to date. I was like, man, I might take a flight out there to go with these.
Shout out to Lord Josh Redding, LordsOfGaming.net. He will be out there on the scene, y'all. We're gonna get you that coverage. Continue.
That's right. So I believe for the FanFest crowd, for the first there, and the huge reception and coronation that they're trying to do, because it's weird the level of press that they're bringing in and the people that they have glued to this. They've been making a big thing about it. I told you, I got the email about it, and I was like, what? Like, am I going to show up? No, I'm not. But you going to send me flight tickets? I'll be out there. But I think it's something huge. So it might be the name, like Sovereign said. I think he hit on that. I think it's 2 studio acquisitions, and I think those 5 studios, they're going to show you a snippet of gameplay from these studios that they've purchased. Because remember, everybody's talking about you've been purchasing, but you haven't been showing. So I believe it's time to flash your hand, get you lathered up and ready for the next situation going forward.
I can't wait till we do ILP on Sunday. That's all I gotta say. But you know, there's a lot of expectations. We'll see. I hope I'm wrong. I hope King is right. I hope y'all right.
I think it's going to be a bigger show than normal. I do think we're going to get a release date for the Wasteland 3. I think we're going to get an unannounced title, because if you notice, the way that they had that lined up is that's post. That's after the Inside Xbox. So whatever that is, it's relatively close, and they're showing more gameplay after they revealed it on stage. I think it's interesting that Obsidian is named there, not the game. So maybe Obsidian does something. Maybe it could be something simple. Could be something small. We don't know. I kind of feel like they have enough studios at this point where they can start releasing, some of their stuff at stuff like XO. I think they're going to announce some studio acquisitions, and for all we know, it could be like a Bleeding Edge thing. That Redacted.
Yeah, Bleeding Edge. Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
that's going to be there.
That Redacted could just be a game that they just bought, and their next game is going to be on their platforms. Just like Bleeding Edge. They bought Ninja Theory, and then the next year, Bleeding Edge is announced on their platform. So that could be exactly the same thing. They bought something in the past 6 months, and that the game that they were working on is going to be shown on the floor.
I hope so. Because I see the 24 titles here, and I think that's what it's going to be. I hope so, y'all. I hope I'm wrong. I hate to be negative, Nancy.
I don't think it's going to be anything. I think the biggest news is going to be the acquisitions, and maybe that Redacted, because Aaron Greenberg was very proud of that Redacted. Who knows what it could be? It could be Lucky Tales 2. We don't know. I highly doubt it's Lucky Tales.
I like Lucky Tales. Sorry, sir.
Shout out to Switch. Shout out to Switch. They got that. Just
what I wouldn't be surprised?
They did, right?
You know what I wouldn't be surprised if it was Rique too.
That would be nice. I like Rique as well. I'm not gonna sit here in front on these games that I actually purchased. See,
shout out to Disney. This is the Redacted is Halo Reach. Stop it.
I wouldn't mind a Rique too. The first one, I feel like it has potential to be if they could make it better. But because the first one was kind of rough. I did drop it.
Throw it in the bushes link.
Cognito got no problem playing. LordCognito got no problem playing The Witcher at 540p. But the Rique's out of the question.
Listen, you know what? You're right. You know what, Addict? You on this?
He's about to spin this over. He's about to spin.
No. You're right. I mean, it's just because if it is, even though I am not a fan of Rique, if it is announced,
look, it wasn't the greatest. It wasn't the greatest game, but it had a good foundation that they can build on.
It was very, very boring. But I will say this. I've always criticized, to Addict's point, I've always criticized Microsoft for the one and done, the burger, shaker, fries. And if they stuck to a franchise that they own and made it better, I will bend the knee and say, you know what? You was on to something, Addict.
Thank you. So I appreciate that, man. Because at no point in time should they just be doing this one and done stuff. There's so many games that they put out there and they just let flounder in the bushes under certain regimes that we shall not mention his name ever again. This guy that actually pushed this rabbit hole. And he went over there and tanked another company.
Oh yeah,
bruh. I'm so happy that we're in a different wavelength right now. Our energy is different. So let's keep up with that same energy and let's cultivate our IPs. Let's do that.
I just hope they don't announce it on that day. Wow. I'm not a fan. I'm sorry. I just want something more spicy than that, man.
I want it to be shown though. What if they show actual hit-a-quitter gameplay, like bombastic stuff? Like,
so you mean to tell me we didn't get this at E3, but like 4 months later they got it for XO?
Yeah, because they've setting up for the next generation. It's not going to be.
We'll see. We'll see. You know, I highly doubt Scarlet anything's going to be in this. Like, if I were to give a percentage of something Scarlet related in XO, it would be like 0.5%.
Oh, damn.
Oh, wow.
I highly doubt it, but you know they might throw me a curveball because
I think we're gonna get XCloud though. I'm pretty confident we're gonna get XCloud information.
That sounds doable.
I always have high expectations in everything that I do. I don't ever go in with a base. I'll accept this. I don't ever do that. I go in with high expectations. Because you know the chat is coming from me, and I do. So if you think I'm going to be disappointed when they do it, no, I'm not, because I understand the business. I'm gonna shoot my shot high. So if they don't hit that shot, if they hit this shot over here,
yo, imagine. Hold on. Let's take into account that if they hit King shot, I might not be here next week.
Yeah, we're gonna have to hit his
it might
mouth.
be too much for me to handle.
I told you would be crazy. Oh my Lord!
It would just be me. Y'all will tune in, and
no one else there.
For the first time ever, like me and King will be on the same side.
No doubt.
So is that everything? Anyone have anything else they want to talk about XO 2019?
That's it, man.
Not really.
So I guess we'll do with the closing poll. Unfortunately, for some reason the poll could disappear, but I remember what it is, you guys. So the poll is, with XO coming up, what do you think of the fan base of these respected studios that they've announced? I'm not going to say like 3430 or something because we don't know if they're going to be there. What fan base do you think is going to be the most impressed or the most pleased? Is it going to be A, Obsidian, B, Ninja Theory, C, Rare, or D, Minecraft? Now I was gonna have, I was gonna have your emoji.
Oh, hold on! I gotta get this super chat. Shout out to Elemental Peel with the $5 super chat. Fantasyland prediction: Sean Layden shows up on stage. King would lose it.
So those
God in them.
Yo,
shows up on stage.
That would be crazy.
That's the redacted. That's the redacted.
Sony dudes, I'm so sorry, but y'all will never, ever hear the end of this.
On God,
So we got a $10 super chat from Cedric. He says, "Stepping through on my lunch break. I appreciate the support, Cedric."
Salute, Cedric. That's the homie right there.
So
yeah, shout out. Y'all better vote A. Y'all know that. You know what time it is.
You know what's funny? If it wasn't, I wanted to say something off the wall for the D, but I was like, I gotta get Minecraft is big. I have to give. There's a lot of Minecraft fans. I was literally gonna leave Minecraft out and put something. Cognito's famous last choice is completely crazy. But I was like, I gotta give Minecraft a shine. So I gave. So there it is. The poll will be up. I don't even know when we do
Minecraft.
I'm playing Minecraft World right now, and that's something I would have never purchased ever.
Oh, here we go.
So with that being said, we're gonna do our outros. Let's start with.
Did we get that last super chat though? Is that Cedric?
Yeah, we got Cedric. We got Cedric. Yeah.
So Erica for the win. I see that there's been people in the chat that appreciate your input on stuff. Where can these people find you?
Yeah. I appreciate that. I got some love in the chat. I appreciate you guys. And to you, ILP, congrats again on the 2K.
Thank you.
That's awesome. I hope you guys keep growing. Where can everyone find me? Well, Ericutz4thewin is my name across everything. So Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all my gamer tags and all of that. If you guys want
exactly how her name's
check
spelled
me
too.
out. Yeah. So you can find me there. I've been streaming DeathStranding, so if you want to watch me, carry some packages and crack some jokes about it, I'll be doing that. I had a good time. I always do with you guys. It's a great show, and I always end up laughing for sure. So yeah, I appreciate the invite, and you guys, I'll see you whenever I see you.
Of course. Salute, Lady Erica. Always a pleasure, and I'm glad you came on because I wanted to let you know. I saw your tweet earlier this week, and you are loved out here. So don't ever feel that way. I know a lot of things have gone on, but everybody really appreciates your kind. You see everybody here shooting their shot, damn it. I'm like, damn, could y'all be discreet about it?
I think what it is I don't think they follow each other on Twitter, so he had to do it when he could, man.
Yeah, but the fact that he had to pull up, though, why he had to pull?
What's funny is he pulled up He pulled up and shot a shot, then he left and shot a shot.
And shot a shot on the way out. Then the chat was like, she's a married woman.
I was like, I don't think that's what he's doing, but yeah, the chat was looking out for me, I think, a little bit.
Yes, chat was looking at it. They were protecting the lady in the room.
Fall back, B.R.A.P, fall back.
But salute the lady, Eric. It's always fun to have her in the room.
The inventor of Phil Dominus, Spencer. Key, where can people find you at?
Oh, you can find me on LogNet with this statue right behind me. You see that He-Man spinning? Y'all saw the Skeletor.
That's how he's gonna look next week if he's right about X.
I'm right. I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna punch the TV screen and scream, "I got the power!" and I'm gonna be walking around shirtless. It's not gonna be nice, but I'm gonna be walking around shirtless with a power sword in my hand. Listen, guys. Y'all can catch me at LordsOfGaming.net, where we have a ton of opinion pieces and stuff like that going on there. I really
links in the description. I put your He-Man up there in the description right now.
Thank you so much. I would like for y'all to really check out the website because it's a different take on a lot of things. You know, you can go in there. It's a menage of different flavors that's there. Like you got CombatTalk, you have statues, and you have LordCognito and Ebontis. You have with the last word. You have opinion pieces that are up. You have hard gaming reviews with Addict. You have the stream team stuff that's there. Listen, it's growing and it's growing into a different space. As you're watching it mature into a different thing, and that's all through you guys. Right. So I don't tell you to go to the site because I don't go there. I actually go there and I read articles and I'm like, wow, I didn't even know that we had this guy here doing this stuff. And one of my favorite guys to do reviews is Delapo. So anytime he does reviews, I'm always all over it. Or MJ the Boss.
Shout out to the stream team.
Reviews. When he plays scary games, his scary games is the greatest. I really love to watch that stuff. So I'm pretty sure that you'll find something there. Also go to damn it.
You guys gotta do that, right?
We gotta do that. We kind of gotta do that.
I don't know what's going on.
Put it on Twitter.
I mean, you could tweet out, sorry, we ended abruptly, like it's messed up.
Now let me double check.
I just restarted.
Oh, hold on. Yeah. Now it's I think we back. We back. Yeah. So we can finish the show and get the announcements off.
Do it quick.
Quick.
Hurry up before they cut us down.
So we do have a Pokemon giveaway that I completely forgot about. I'll take responsibility for that.
We only got 60 people now. They
who won the shield and sword? Lord Saul.
So shout out to Lord Pete once again for the banhammer and doing what he does. The winner of our Gleam Pokemon Sword or Shield giveaway is at the Jose HP. Congratulations, Lord Jose HP. I will get you in the DMs and find out which version of the game you want. Thank you once again for supporting the Iron Lords podcast. We really appreciate it.
I got an announcement too.
No doubt.
Yeah, man. So real quick, I don't know where we at with the show. If this is one continuous thing or it's a separate episode. Shout out to YouTube. Yeah, shout out to YouTube just messing us up, but it's all good. Real quick, man. So we got some announcements. Obviously, like King said, LordsOfGaming.net is moving and grooving. Thank Lady Erica for getting us Hector Ramey, who's been fantastic for us.
Hector's great.
Oh my
God. You guys, he's great.
He's tremendous. So shout out to that. And then we got some new acquisitions. Obviously, we had Undead 3XVI holding down on the editing tip as well. And then, of course, some new acquisitions this week. The Multiverse Invasion. First starting off my boy, Mike P. The Truth. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be holding down LordsOfGaming.net with some great opinion pieces and spicy takes. Always good, of course, an avid Madden player. So please check him out. He will be getting the ball rolling. And of course, one in particular, long-awaited acquisition, the Anchorman V2 is in the building. So salute the Anchorman. He will be joining us as well.
I got to get that horn that go. Oh, man.
Yeah, man. Salute the Anchorman. He will be helping us out various things, man. And he also will be giving us those hot, fresh Bethesda takes as he does. You already know. You know what I'm saying? So salute the Anchorman V2. So more surprises, more things coming, more giveaways. 2020 is looking to be very special for LordsOfGaming.net. So please follow us there. And yeah, man, also salute the writing. And of course, follow the @LordsGamingNet Twitter account. There you can find those great pieces and a lot of these people putting in fantastic work. So that's all I got. Just wanted to get that off real quick.
Yeah, and then might as well go ahead and Where can people find Lord Sovereign at, the one that ignores my party invites?
You can find me on LordSovereign as well as BX Sovereign on PSN and Xbox Live.
Where you ignore my party invites.
Right? Where I don't see your party invites.
It's cool, man. I'm never on Xbox these days anyway.
I'm glad you get to ghost him because he has ghosted me on this game that I've been trying to finish forever, and he got the key. I'm mad as hell.
Shout out to the Do Not Disturb.
Yeah, exactly. Do Not Disturb. You can find me reluctantly delivering packages in Death Stranding the rest of the week.
I just love how people describe this game, and I just get a kick out of it. But anyway, first off, you can find me, Lord Addict, pretty much through everything. Now I'm on Xbox. I'm Lord Addict. So you can find me on Twitter. You can find me, LordAddictILP. YouTube, unfortunately, it's Gaming Addict on there. What's not unfortunately. One thing I want to say is, we had like 145 people watching. You guys come every week and support us live. We appreciate all the super chats. We appreciate the likes that you give us. We're only 9 away from 100 before the end of the podcast. Hit that like button if you guys don't mind.
Yes,
but
please.
We cannot begin to describe to you how appreciative we are of the support you give us every week. Every week it seems like more and more people show up. And we'll be back next week. Until next time, we're out.
And when I come back, you better hope Microsoft didn't do what I said.